This is the X&C Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Mag, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, X&C Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox newscast. Welcome to the X&C Podcast, everybody. It's good to see you. Mag points at me and he's like, you and all of you. Mag's not pointing at me.
Ed.
How are you, Mag?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you. It's been a busy week. It's been a lot of stuff going on, a lot of news, and that's why we're doing this today, folks. We're doing it today because it just can't wait till Monday sometimes, and you know what, man? You know, strike while the iron's hot. I mean, we got all kinds of crazy stuff right now. We got a code name for the Xbox. Yep. We got Nintendo trying to sue the American government. Oh, it's just been a madhouse. You know, Resident Evil is taking the world by storm. All kinds of stuff, man. It's been crazy. So let's talk about it, dude. We got some things to talk about it. Talk about it. We got some things to talk about. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's been really crazy. You and I made a short. We made a video. I spent longer than normal on my last video, which went up yesterday morning at 7 a.m. Pacific time, and then about 3 hours later or 4 hours later, the official news broke about Xbox Project Helix. Meg and I your short really says a lot. We're going to talk about the technical side, the feature side, and the business side, and we were talking yesterday on the phone for about an hour and a half, like we did this mini private podcast. We're going to break down a lot of crazy concepts and maybe some insider look at what's going on with the business side of what Asha Sharma is trying to do and what she won't do. There's a whole bunch to cover, and we appreciate you guys being here. We normally do the show on a Monday night, but here we are taking Xbox 2's spot because they had to reschedule. So it's good to be here. So we might see a few people in the UK, maybe some people in Australia able to watch us well, it's really early for them in Australia, I think it is.
Well, it's already April in Australia, so it's already Easter over there, so that, you know, they're way ahead of the times.
Yeah. So yeah, it's I'm expecting a lot of questions from you guys in the chat. I made a couple of changes. I've got a chunk of the live chat on the screen, so if you can watch the show, you can kind of keep an eye on that while you're watching without having the pop out chat or whatever. But it'll kind of give people an idea of what everyone's asking and some of the questions going on. So Meg, as we kind of get rolling in.
Sir.
How have you been? Like, what have you been up to besides 3 playthroughs?
Well, yeah, I'm on my third playthrough of I did three playthroughs of Resident Evil. I finally finished the one last night on stream with the community. They came to watch the finale. That was my second playthrough. And at the same time, I was also doing another playthrough. So I had 3 playthroughs going on at the same time, doing different things. So for Resident Evil, of course, just for a little bit of context. And finished that. Did a short. It was kind of funny, actually, because I did a short this morning, which usually do very well, and it just kind of died on impact, at least for now. I don't know what the hell happened. Yeah. And then I released my marinated reviews for Resident Evil 9, which came out just about an hour and a half ago, and it's not really tracking either. So I'm wondering if my channel got one of those little moments, because literally 2 days before I released a video that got almost 3,000 views. So it's like, what the hell happened? I went from 3,000 to 98 views, and I'm like, YouTube's doing that algorithm thing again, or that
I don't know
AI
about that.
algorithm thing.
I have a different idea.
What?
I put out my video about Xbox Magnus, and 3-4 hours later, Project Helix gets announced, and which is cool because everything in my video I think still sticks. But when I woke up this morning, my video dropped a couple ranks. So, which typically happens when news becomes official. People are like, "Oh, we already know what it is." Unless you're looking to dive into the minutia of it. I put out a short, which I don't normally do shorts, but it got some decent amount of views, I guess. But if that was a video, I'd be like, yikes. But it's just a weird thing on YouTube, and
it's funky sometimes, man.
Yeah.
It's so funky. It's like I did a Resident Evil video last week, almost 12,000 views.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, when I released the actual review of the game or whatever, views, and then the review I did today, and I'm just like, well, it didn't really hit, but what I do find though is a lot of videos that I do release tend to pick up a lot of traction from late afternoon into the evening. That seems to like be the trend of when I get the most views or whatever. So when I release something in the morning, nothing really happens, and it usually starts to pick up around 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? So I thought it was kind of funny, but either way, it was just a little disappointing. But hey, that's part of the game, man. You got to keep doing it. You got to keep pushing it. But go check out my my marinated review for Resident Evil. It's a long video. It's about 16 minutes long, which I normally don't do. But yeah, it took a very long time to put that together. But either way, it's out and it's ready to rock. And yeah, and then I did a short just to advertise really this show today. And I'm like, well, I usually get like a couple thousand views on my shorts and whatever. Nothing. It was just like completely died. I should have put the Colteastwood shocked face on it or something. Maybe that would have driven more people to it. Like, yeah, I could have done that. That should have been right there. But anyways,
I was gonna tell you what I've been up to, but I've just been piddling around on a couple games, just kind of hanging out. I was in party chat last night with some friends like Hargeet Johnny, Game Seeker, 108 Dragon, Lemon was hanging out with us, and Steady Steve, who we used to know as KY Bob, just kind of hanging out and talking about the business of everything. But before we get in, I don't want to dive into all of the delicious stuff yet, because I want to break the ice in relation to Project Helix, because Geoff Keighley, our favorite ambassador of the gaming and the international atmosphere of sharing everything when it comes to gaming, the Ryan Seacrest of video gaming, as I call him, Mag. He put out his big tweet. Every time he tweets news, he gets big engagement. He said, quote, Xbox announced that Project Helix is the code name of the next generation PC-based Xbox hardware device. And, well, I mean, I got to give him props. He said Xbox twice in the post, but he is getting absolutely lambasted by the gaming world and the gaming journalists who are smacking him over the top of the skull and saying, console, bro. Console, can you say console? Hello, McFly! I saw that fact you in the face! McFly. So, yeah, he's getting, like, shredded online for refusing to say Xbox console. I mean, imagine, Mag. Imagine if the PS6 got an announcement that it's going to support PC games. Imagine the freaking celebrations in the streets and backflips people would be doing. You kidding me? The amazing games that PlayStation has plus PC games. I'll tell you what Tom Warren said. Did you see this thing, Mag?
Yeah, I did see it. Of course I saw
it.
I'm gonna be like the McDonald's CEO. Instead of calling it a burger, I'm gonna call it a product. I'm just gonna call it hardware. Therefore, I'm like pissing nobody off. I'm like, listen, it's hardware. You can't ignore it's hardware. So I don't really care what they call it. You can call it a PC. People can argue about it, saying, well, it's a PC component. It's a PC that runs Windows 11, this and that, whatever. You can access all this other stuff. But at the same time, you have other people saying, well, it does all the things that the console does. So it actually runs like a console. It runs the games and runs your Xbox games from previous up to present and all that stuff. And I'm like, I don't care. You remember that scene from like The Fugitive from way back in the day?
Yeah.
When Harrison Ford's like, I didn't do it. I didn't kill my wife. And then you've got, what's his name there going, I don't care. That's me. I'm Tommy Lee Jones. I'm the I don't care what you call it. That's not what's important. People, piddling around about the minutia of all these stupid little details of what it is, what it's not, whatever. That is absolutely got nothing to do with what this thing is going to be either doing for the community, not doing for the community, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, let's just call it a McDonald's product.
A product.
Take a very small bite, pretend we ate it, and then we're going to move on with our lives and just talk about the important stuff.
Music 72 says, I need to push you off a cliff in the Fugitive scene for that. I didn't do it. Stein, who is one of the big marketing people for Xbox for the console division, he put up the meme of the Xbox CEO. I love this product. But Tom Warren was the one that really got like the juices flowing. I mean, Geoff Keighley's never beating the allegations, and I'm pretty famous for not saying a nice thing about him one time, and people really went after me. Then I deserve it. But seeing the way he's being treated lately is insane. Like, it seems like everybody's like, we're done with this guy. And I love Geoff Keighley. I think you and I've said it a million times on the show. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have 2 amazing shows, or 3 he does a year. What's that?
I was going to say the same thing. If it wasn't for Geoff Keighley, we wouldn't have a Game Awards. We wouldn't have a Summer Games Fest. You know, we wouldn't have a lot of these things or whatever. So let him do that stuff. Whatever he's doing outside of it, whatever. You can agree or disagree. Like, someone took a picture. I know that I think that the guy was claiming it was a joke after he got absolutely shredded online. And as a result of it, they're like, after the announcement of High God closing, here's a picture of Geoff Keighley shopping on Rodeo Drive, and it really was. It was actually Geoff Keighley walking around Rodeo Drive. He had his little earbuds in. He's walking down the street, and the people in the comments were like,
"I saw that,
dude. You feeling all right, dude? Like, what are you doing? Like, why are we doing this? It's like, you know, maybe you should go seek some mental help or whatever, right?" And so, like, that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, he's like, "It's a joke. It's a joke." After he got roasted to hell, and I'm like, "Listen, man." Whatever he's doing outside of that stuff, whatever. You can agree or disagree with him. It's totally cool. Like I said, like what I do my channel too, I'm like, listen, if you disagree with me, you can call me whatever you want. But at the end of the day, if we find some common ground that we love video games and all that kind of stuff, cool. And how people feel about Geoff, whatever people want to say about him, cool. That's fine too, if you don't like him and all that stuff. However, you do have to recognize that without him, a lot of this stuff wouldn't happen. Now, he's also doing it, let's face it, he's also doing a lot of this stuff to line his own pockets. It's not like he's walking out of the Game Awards broke. He's walking out of the Game Awards with a whole lot of money because he's producing it. It's essentially, it's almost like, what the hell am I trying to say here? You know, when you do like a charity, like a charity show or whatever, they take like a portion of the money. That doesn't all go to charity. They're making money off this
like Jerry's Kids.
Yeah, exactly. They're making a portion off this thing, right? Anyway,
I mean,
Geoff is making a lot of money off this. But he also loves the gaming industry, so whatever.
Yeah, I know. I talked to Geoff he did a Spaces, and I was talking to him about how he does the Game Awards, like at a really inopportune time for some of the late year games that kind of get snubbed because they don't meet the deadline. And it's really about maximizing sponsorships and viewership and money and all that stuff. Like he has to make a compromise. But Tom Warren said, because, you know, Geoff Keighley wouldn't say console. And I don't know. I don't think he did that on purpose. I mean, he's making a very short tweet that's saying that it's a next-gen Xbox hardware device. You know, he could call it a PC console hybrid. You know, maybe he's not using that word. I've been using it for like almost 2 years in videos and tweets. But Tom Warren said, quote, PC-based hardware, Xbox hardware device. I think you mean Xbox console. Sorry, I'm trying to read too fast and spill over my words. And then instead of just saying, yeah, I should have said console, Jeff's like, do you consider the Steam machine a console? And that's when he got lambasted by everyone because the Steam machine says on the website, it's a PC. And so I wouldn't talk about this much longer because it gets kind of lame and who cares if he's Jeff's been getting roasted for like 2 years straight. Honestly, and but I would say if I knew honestly my personal opinion, he doesn't really love Xbox. Maybe, I don't know, you know, like he likes it or, you know, he wants it to do great like everyone else, but like he doesn't prefer it. And
he probably doesn't prefer it.
I mean, let's be real. Like all podcasters, content creators, people who are on social media, gaming fans who are writing their opinions, they have a bias. I have a bias. And there's some things I really don't like about Xbox or PlayStation. And you and I don't care about Nintendo as much, but it's just how it is. But
it's just how it is. Like, I don't cover Nintendo stuff on my channel. But I don't have those Nintendorks coming after me going crazy, like whatever. And I'm like, listen, I'm just not really interested in it. Now, however, the only thing is that, I mean, if you're going to be on a grander stage, right? Obviously bigger than my stage, bigger than your stage, you'd want to cover things fairly equally, which I still think he does, but on a personal level, you can clearly see that he doesn't care for it, but whatever.
Yeah.
So, but on a business level, he's still dealing with them. I mean, he still had Phil on the stage in 2019, do the Series X reveal and all this other stuff and all the other reveals that they have that Xbox Publishing did and whatever, even this year, or not this year so much, but last year and whatever. So he's still going to do all those kind of deals. But yeah, on a personal level, he's going to have his choice. That is what it's going to be. I was just reading the tweet from Asha once again. where she says things like, she calls it our next generation console, and then she says where it'll play your Xbox and PC games. So, you know, she kind of like, she did say it was a console or whatever else, but it'll be able to play both of those things. But at the end of the day, I literally, for the next year and a half, dude, I don't care what they call it.
Yeah.
Because when it, from now until whenever it comes out, I am not going to exhaust myself with the online rhetoric and conversation around what it actually is. The more important things are what we are going to talk about today.
Yeah, I wanted to say, and I was trying to get to it, that when it comes to Geoff not saying console, I am totally going to call this thing a console and a PC. You're going to hear me say that all the time. And there's a big thing going around since this announcement came out. And the reason why I brought up Geoff Keighley is that I want to address this early on in the show, that people, you know, Xbox calls this a console, Steam Machine calls their thing a PC, but the Steam Machine is clearly a console form factor. So I would be fine if people said the Steam Machine was a console and a PC, but when it comes down to it, this thing is both. And if the competition did the same thing, it would be really, really cool. So we're going to break down what that means. And
do you realize what Helix actually means? The Helix is
let's talk about that.
If you actually think about, that's exactly why they called it what they called it. A Helix is a 3D model, right? Of two different items that have been intertwined together. However, when pulled apart, it becomes one. That is literally exactly what it is. It's a PC and an Xbox in a 3D model, two intertwined items, and then when pulled apart, they become one. That was why the hell do you think they're calling it a Helix? So it's not one, it's not the other, it's a bit of both. Let's move on with our lives.
And as a double
like a
meaning,
DNA strand.
Of course, like anime compilation. Thank you, says DNA strand. So it kind of has a triple meaning, but
what it is.
Meg already said the DNA thing, like it's mixing two DNAs of console and PC. But Game Seeker and Fonz Gaming both separately messaged me the revelation that points to actually what the next Xbox console will look like by calling it Project Helix. A Helix is a ascending line around a cylinder, and when you ascend a line around a cylinder, if you're it's so cool. It's kind of like the fourth dimension thing, but if you are a little ant on a cylinder and you just vary to the left a little bit, as you keep going, you'll corkscrew around the cylinder in the fourth dimension. You stand that thing up and you've just put out the shape of a cylinder on your walking path. So the Helix or the DNA thing, when you look at the twisting ladder, it's actually forming a cylinder shape. And Xbox in 2022 leaked that picture of the white cylinder Xbox. We thought maybe that was going to be the digital console. But Game Seeker and Fonz Gaming are kind of predicting, like, they're saying I wouldn't be surprised if the Xbox Project Helix console PC hybrid is a cylinder shape. And then I have a really cool concept that someone made on YouTube that I've used in videos of that black cylinder shape. It looks like a Series X with a grill on the top and everything. But when you think about the shape, and we'll get into all this stuff in a minute, but the shape, the Xbox Series X has everything stacked in a nice rectangle. But if you put a cylinder case on that, you're wasting a lot of space. So the case has to be bigger. But if you do that, Mag, you now have like two huge channels on right and left sides of void space where you can exit out heat and thermals from the
heat. I was going to say
and no one does this. Like PCs aren't cylinder shaped.
Circulation of air.
Yeah. Like cool. PCs and consoles had never really been cylinder shaped, and some devices are. But imagine your Series X, and it'd have to be like 4 inches bigger. On at least
yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot to dive into, and I'm not quite sure where to start, but we'll start with I'll just barf out the specs very quickly.
You could just say it, not barf it.
And then Meg, I want you to talk about price and stuff, because I'm gonna grab a reference point here, because not a lot of people are talking about the specs, because Xbox just said Project Helix. And they're like, oh, cool, it's a hybrid PC. It's going to come out in a year and a half. And that's another thing we're going to talk about when it comes out. But the specs, I couldn't really tell you what they're on par with, because you shouldn't compare to NVIDIA, but it's like kind of like NVIDIA's like low grade or mid grade 5000 series card, like maybe a 5070, but they're not interchangeable. And I'd say AMD, but I don't really follow AMD's GPUs. But this thing has a killer CPU. It's got on the chip, it's got a neural rendering CPU and a regular one side by side. The regular one's bigger, the neural rendering one's smaller. And that neural rendering chip is going to be used to boost back compat games, make them look better, drape better graphics and resolution, and boost the frame rate and all that stuff. So all that stuff's pretty cool. Actually, I'm not going to give you the specs if I was giving you the numbers, but 48 gigabytes of RAM. So you're talking, I don't know, like $400 or $300 worth of RAM wholesale just in this thing alone. And then I was talking to Hargeet last night, and we were talking about all the specs. He's like, you got to remember that most of the specs in the Magnus chip are all silicon, like they're burned in when they build the chip, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's more expensive because of the RAM prices, like when they make a chip, right? I don't know if you guys know this. They do the wafer and they burn the image on there, and the higher quality it is, the higher they can sell it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's more expensive to make. So I was talking to a friend of mine who's like, we're trying to figure out what the price of this is, and I'm like, you got to remember, Xbox is planning on selling maybe 1 million of these in the first year or so. So you've got 1 million quantity on a wholesale market of them, acquiring components from AMD and these other manufacturers. So, Mag, I want you to kind of tell people what you expect this thing to cost, knowing what's in the guts.
Well, I mean, like I said, you're the tech guy. We talked about that earlier, where, Colt is going to talk tech. I'm going to talk business. Those are our fortes. But however, the thing is that, as we already know, which by the way is starting to leak out now. I don't know if you saw that just before we went live, a bunch of videos started showing up, people saying the Project Helix is going to be $1,200 and whatever. And I'm like, we've been telling you guys that since the summer. I just want to say that once again, ladies and gentlemen, XNC were the first to say it once again, right. months and months and months and months before everybody else. But anyways, the point is internally they had originally given a 2-point price of $1,200 to $1,500 for the console. Excuse me, for the product.
Product.
I'm just kidding. That's gonna be like the running joke forever. Just like the McDonald's CEO. We're just gonna call it product. But anyways, all joking aside, that was their internal projection. Doesn't mean that's the final price. Doesn't mean anything. That was something that was brought to their attention, which was then brought to yours and my attention, right? And so that came down the line and saying, hey, this is what they're talking about in the office. So fine, whatever, great. Let's just say, for argument's sake, it sits at $1,200. I think that would be around the appropriate price for something like that. Now, the other thing is, if you think about it, if I know we keep talking about the ROG Xbox Ally X, if that thing is $1,000 for a handheld, what would make you think that a standalone, even more powerful piece of hardware would be less than $1,000?
Well, I've got an answer for that, Mag.
Okay, go ahead.
And we talked. You and I talked about it here on the show. I was also talking to my buddy about that. Fonz and I were trying to guess, like, I did the 6-7 thing because I'm super old. We were trying to guess compared to like the ROG Ally, which is $1,000, right? And I'm like, I don't know how much is in there, but I said, you're also looking at a ROG Ally with a expensive lithium battery and an IPS screen, which, what is that? $100 for both of those for ROG to put in the machine, to acquire. Like, does that add $100 to the handheld? Is it more than? Is it like 150? I don't know. We're just kind of spitballing it back and forth. But Fonz and I kind of agree. It's, well, I don't want to steal your thunder, but we kind of have a price, and I think you kind of said it, that we're around the 1,200, maybe up to 1,500 in the US. Yeah, but I'm kind of.
Isn't that exactly what they said internally? They said that internally that came from within Microsoft. So
well, I never heard that internal number personally from anybody that I haven't seen that number, but before we talk about,
you heard it from me.
Well, you heard it from Mag the insider and the expert of all.
But apparently, according to Ant-Man, I'm a pony, but I say the price of the game. I say the price of a console, and I'm a freaking pony.
Right.
Whatever. Yeah. You know what happens to ants? Ant-Man? They get stepped on. And they're also the weakest of the Avengers. I just like to point that out. Anyways,
they can also lift 1,000 times their weight, Mag. And you've been losing weight, so you'll probably just throw you across.
He might be able to throw me across the room. It's a possibility.
Before we dive into this, we got to tell people about
Yes.
the magic and the wonder of the energy that comes from the Xbox Magnus and Project Helix, and also 4XP.
Oh, well, there's one thing I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen. There's no such thing as people arguing what 4XP is. Is it a console? Is it an energy drink? Is it a powder? Is it a liquid? No, you know what it is? It's quality. It's nothing but quality, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what we're talking about right now. We're talking about 4XP, ladies and gentlemen. And it is one thing that you are guaranteed is not going to be overpriced. There's one thing, another thing, is that it's not going to be a Helix. It's going to be a single strand of top quality product, ladies and gentlemen. 4XP right there. As you can see, Colteastwood, name the 3 flavors as we continue on with the show. Name the 3 flavors for the wonderful people out there.
Legendary, which is also blue raspberry. Read the second one. Sorry, I'm getting in.
I can't read the second one. Ultra Nightmare,
Which is watermelon, and then
which is watermelon. Then we've got white gummy, known as Grave Walker. I'm trying to do my best Killer Instinct for everybody, you know.
Right. Shout out to 4XP. Yeah, you take these packets. Here, let me. I haven't even opened this one. I already burned through the last one they sent me. You take one of these packets, drop it into a bottle of water or the shaker, which is in the other room. You drop this in, mix it up, and I will be in Phoenix next Friday, a week from now, helping them hand out samples of 4XP at the Gamer Expo. I cannot wait to meet the guys.
How dope is that, ladies and gentlemen?
Shout out to
them,
How dope
is that?
Go check out their product. They're awesome. Stuff's delicious, and I'm hooked on the blue raspberry now. It's like it's surpassed my love of white gummy.
It's surpassed the Grave Walker?
It has, dude. I love the white gummy, but it's like my go-to has been the blue raspberry. It's freaking awesome. So it's like
amazing.
One last testimonial. Remember how you used to love Kool-Aid when you were a kid? Well, this tastes like Kool-Aid if you're an adult. It's not overly sugary. It's just it's just good. I love it. And one last confession. If I don't mix it up just enough and it's a little bit, if I let a little grit in there, it actually kind of makes it even nicer. I don't know what it is. We got breaking news. Funny? What's up?
I love it when it's just a little bit of powder in there.
Yeah,
and then, it's on your tongue a little bit. It's kind of cool. I don't know. It reminds you of like when you used to eat candy as a kid. Like, you used to buy those big stupid long sticks of like the pixie powder and whatever. And then you just turn it upside down like this in your mouth. And then you would just like drink all that or whatever. And then you got like those little particles of candy on your tongue. Awesome. I love it. Colteastwood, what is the breaking news?
We've got breaking news. I hate to sound cheesy, but this is crazy. According to Xstasis is he's from Mexico. He's a content creator. And I say he's from Mexico because most of his stuff is in Spanish. So that's why I say where he's from. It doesn't matter where you're from, but if you see his stuff, you might not see it in English. But Xstasis has been fairly reputable. He covers a lot of leaks and stuff. Let me get into it. So you're like, what is it? But I tend to believe a lot of stuff he's saying. He says this report on Reddit's leaks and rumors, which I know I need to say what it is, but Reddit's leaks and rumors doesn't hold on to a leak unless they have checked it or they trust the person who said it. But here's the post. According to Xstasis, Satya Nadella told Xbox employees during the Xbox Town Hall, which is the other day, that Asha Sharma has a blank check to revive Xbox, no matter the cost. I don't know. Mag, does that sound like some BS, or does that sound like, I don't know. What are you thinking?
I don't know. I mean, that you talking about the hands-on meeting where the North Korean thing where everybody came and clapped for like Phil and Sarah and stuff?
No, it was like the other day. Forced. It was
okay.
It was like Wednesday or Tuesday or something, and we had talked about this possible town hall meeting, but we didn't know what the info was. But Satya is wearing a black hoodie with the Xbox logo on the arm, and he's sitting with Asha Sharma. They were in just in 2 regular like office chairs, and they were in front of, and they had a microphone, so they were taking Q&A. I'm going to say it one more time. I'll get right to it. Satya told Xbox employees during the Xbox town hall that Asha Sharma has a blank check to revive Xbox, no matter the cost.
And when did this happen? A couple days?
A couple days ago. Or, I mean, this is breaking uh, one of the guys who is an insider, because I'm not, sent me this as soon as he saw it. So like, I feel like he's kind of co-signing it, but I'm
surprised. I don't know. I'm 50-50 on this. I saw some in the chat say a couple people saying 50-50 as well. I'm a little 50-50 on that because I have a feeling if he said something like that, that would have been out literally 5 minutes after he said it.
That's a good point.
Someone would have texted that out to somebody and said, bro, or whatever. You'll never believe what Satya just said. That would have spilled out. There's no way that would have stayed internal for days. Because that's huge news. Dude, I just texted while you were talking. I just texted a few people. I'm like,
oh, yeah. Let me know if you hear. I'm going to text my guy, too.
You know what I mean? Yeah. That's the only thing that I'm a little hesitant on. I'm not hesitant on the idea of it. I'm hesitant on the validity of it because I think we would have heard something but from somebody. That would be big news. And I think that they would actually, believe it or not, if he did say that entirely, I think that they might have used that as a marketing tool. Right? I think they would use that as a tool that they could have put towards the Project Helix and saying, hey, you want to bolster, like you want maximum impact on what we're talking about or what we're doing, then you know what? Announce the Project Helix. 5 minutes later, announce what Satya said at the town hall. Those things aren't secret. It's not like it's a cult. Well, I mean, it is a cult, but I mean, like, it's not really like a cult where like, it's like, listen, you know, we sacrifice humans here, so you can't talk about it in the outside world. That's not what they're doing. This is a business meeting. So the thing is, I think that would have been out there for maximum impact. Imagine if you had advertisement like Asha said yesterday, well, it wasn't advertisement, but she still says, hey, here's the name, Project Helix, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden they say, oh, and by the way, Satya said, you have a blank check to
I wouldn't want that statement. If I was Satya, I wouldn't want that statement to be a public thing. You can say something like that to one of your employees, you know, like let's say like somebody who's been working in the Xbox division for a couple of years and doesn't want to get, you know, crap canned or laid off. It's like went up to Satya after the meeting's over and it's like, you know, what's it look like for our job? What's our security look like? And he's like, you know, I told Asha she has a blank check. Like we're all in gaming. I mean, Satya said we're all in gaming. The thing that I can believe is
he also
maybe
said that
Satya,
before ABK.
Well, yeah, he did. He did say we're all in, and he went for ABK. Maybe Satya does want Asha to just go for it, but the blank check statement seems pretty sensational. A lot of people in the comments when I looked on Reddit Mag were like, I don't trust this dude. But when Reddit's Leaks and Rumors hasn't, like, they usually just kick that stuff out when they look at who it comes from. So
just for hilarity, can you imagine like he did say, well, the other thing is if you keep it secret, if you say it at a town hall, you're saying it to literally your whole staff. So and like that would get out.
Yeah.
You're saying it to the public. I mean, so there's that. But how funny would it be, just for argument's sake, all right? Imagine if he actually did say that at the town hall meeting and then Amy Hood's behind him just having a complete inner meltdown. She's like, what the? And she's like texting him. She's like, will you shut up? It's like, I run the numbers. But yeah, that'd be really funny. But I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. The chat seems to be on board with this for the most part. There are a couple of people that saying like, yeah, you know, that's awesome, whatever. But the majority from what I'm seeing is no. Excuse me. Excuse me. Not no. Sorry, guys. I don't want to speak for you. Hesitancy.
Yes, I agree. Yes. Yeah, I knew
that's all it is.
Yeah, Kirk Adams says, where was Phil's blank check? I mean, he spent $80 billion. I mean,
that's pretty. If that's not a blank check, dude, I don't know what the hell is.
Yeah, and Fonz is like, for what? Fonz like, blank check for what? What would you buy? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, you already own $100 billion in studios. I'm just that's just a guess number. Probably more than that. Let's say they own $150 billion in studios, right? And publishers, which they do. They're building a very expensive console, which you and I and most of the chat agree with is somewhere around $1,200. I mean, what would the blank check be for? And I was talking to one of my friends last night that said Gabe Newell was going through a divorce. The owner, the Santa
Claus?
Father Christmas.
Mrs. Claus is leaving Santa?
Yeah, well, so a few years ago or whatever it was, several years ago, he was going through a divorce. He was about to sign the papers to sell Steam to Microsoft, but he was going through the divorce. He's like, I don't want that witch to get half my money. And so he backed out of the deal. And so my friend was saying, what if Satya and Amy and Asha are thinking, let's go back and see if Gabe wants to just retire and be done and sell his Steam. I'm like, that's insane. I'm like, don't say that he's make Microsoft sound like this evil corporation. We're going to buy Steam and we'll take over the world. But it does answer the question, like, why would you allow Steam? Another thing Fonz was telling me, he's like, why would they let people just buy all their games on Steam because Steam's right there, instead of buying them from the Windows Store, which is crap. We both know it's crap. So I'm like, well, if they bought Valve, then go ahead and buy them wherever you want. You're buying them from us. But I just can't see Xbox buying their way into success if there's an actual blank check. That sounds like an insane idea. I don't know.
Well, they tried that already and it didn't work. I mean, it worked like somewhat, but like, I mean, we talked about this before. The weight of those studios sitting on them is a heavy burden, and that's the other thing is all of a sudden you're going to take on another heavy burden. This is, of course, assuming that you can even get past the FTC and all the other antitrust, whatever, all that business that goes on in the court. But anyway, that's a whole other ball game. But either way, I didn't even realize that Santa Claus got divorced. No wonder the presents have been crap the last couple of years. Like, my God, you guys going through a midlife crisis.
On your point, Mag,
yeah.
The ABK trial was an absolute disaster because the administration was the complete opposite of what it is now. And I didn't want to get political, but I will for a second. I was like, that was the Biden administration when Xbox was doing ABK. Has it really been that long? And my friend was like, it's like now it's a totally different administration. You're looking at an administration who would absolutely approve major mergers for an American company that would be competing against a foreign company. And I'm like, okay, I don't even want to get into this conversation. I'm like, just make the games great. I mean, can they take this blank check concept and make better games, Mag?
Can I bring up something? Speaking of Steam, this is important. I was listening to it this morning while I was making breakfast, and I was like, "Oh!" And I was listening to Skill Up, and he was talking about the Project Helix thing and whatever. And then, of course, price started to creep into the conversation. He knows he obviously he knows a lot of people in the industry, so he has a ballpark idea, as we do, as to how much this thing's going to cost. Now, the interesting thing is they're saying, "Oh well, some people are still under the hopes that they would subsidize a console," and even Skill Up said, "I'm saying absolutely." Absolutely, they will not. Colteastwood said they will absolutely not. And the other thing is that he said, well, he has another thing that he was thinking about. It was just a little nugget of information. He said, well, if you're putting Steam on this box, people would be inclined because Steam has the best sales in the industry, basically, right? Better than Sony, better than Xbox, certainly better than Nintendo, who have almost no sales on their stuff. But either way, let's say out of Sony and Microsoft, Steam has the best sales. There's summer sales, there's spring sales, whatever. You could buy games for like $4 and all that kind of stuff. People would be more inclined to buy those games instead of the Xbox store front that would be on the console. They would be buying them on Steam. So therefore, what used to happen is that the companies used to subsidize, well, some of them still do, Sony still does, and Nintendo still does. They subsidize the prices of their hardware and make it up with a percentage of sales off the storefront. However, this is what SkillUp presented. He said, if people are, let's just say for argument's sake, are buying 50% of that software off of Steam, is Microsoft going to charge a premium above that in order to make up for the losses of those game sales on their storefront? So it was just a question. It wasn't really like, it wasn't a
It's
statement.
a good question.
It wasn't
a good question.
It wasn't to bother people, but it's something to think about. And I'm like, well, who? How about that? I'm like, I never thought of that. I don't know. I was trying to say
Heidi ho. Is that what you said?
Heidi ho. I just thought it was a very interesting little thing to think about, like almost like a philosopher's thought. Like, oh, what do you think about this? And I'm like, dude, it's like he blew my mind while I was making eggs. And I'm just like, that's a good point. I never thought of that. I mean, we thought about, the Steam storefront being there, whatever, the Epic storefront and all that kind of stuff there. If they start taking away from that, from the Microsoft store, what is the advantage of doing this? So that's what I started thinking about. It's like, you're losing the storefront people. I don't know, man. It's just a thought. What do you guys think in the chat, man?
I really don't have a very good answer for that, because when someone says, what are they going to do with those sales lost that are not bought from the Xbox ecosystem? It doesn't make any sense. The only thing I can think of is they've got some other plan behind the scenes that makes up for lost sales on Steam or Uplay or EA or GOG or whatever.
What about like a percentage of their profit? Would they say, hey, we'll take 2% if you put your storefront on our hardware?
Steam doesn't have to do that. Steam is available on every PC related device. So Steam doesn't have to do Xbox any favors. So Xbox needs to do something for them. And I would tell you that Xbox would say, hey, we're going to make this console and it'll be out for some millions of people. So it'll increase outreach to your Steam storefront. And Steam are like, we don't need that. We have, they have double the people on Steam than there are on PlayStation. They don't need someone to say, hey, we're going to bring you customers. That's already happening.
Right.
Yeah, so
I see you, episode 13. He's saying Xbox has good sales too. They do have great sales. However, if you know anything about Steam, I'm not a Steam purchaser, but I have Steam. I just kind of peruse it every once in a while just for fun, because I do have a capable PC. I just know I don't use it for gaming. I use it for YouTube. But I'm a console-only gamer. So the thing is that though those Steam, that you talk to people who are actually like PC gamers, there are no sales like Steam sales.
Yeah.
So it does drive a lot of attention towards it, which is obviously the goal of the service, right? The goal of the service is to bring people to your storefront. So the thing is, with such an overwhelmingly popular storefront being put right into the same box as your Xbox store, you get a lot of people start eyeballing that stuff. I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to understand, and it's not even anything else. I'm trying to understand the motivation, though.
There's something weird going on. And guys, pay attention to this, because Xbox has said everything except you'll have Steam on this next Xbox device. They've said everything except the word Steam or the name Steam. And it kind of makes me think that they have some workaround. To think about them buying Valve is insanity. But when you look back at, I don't know how long ago was when Microsoft was going to acquire them, that it's not insanity. But that's one answer I can give you, is like, if they were planning on having some joint venture or merger or some type of agreement or some acquisition, then they're good. But their storefront, the Windows storefront, doesn't host hardly any games. Play Anywhere is the only thing that's actually really giving them third-party games. I'm going to cover some super chat questions, and then we're going to get into the exclusivity thing. There's some crazy things, and Steam is actually part of that exclusivity discussion we're going to have. B. Martin, Captain Chance, thank you for joining the channel membership. Game Seeker, thank you for the Canadian 5, says, Mag, will Mark Carney be flying out to his Nexus Studios in the Netherlands?
Gosh. What? I love how Game Seeker on a weekly basis, by the way, God bless you, brother. God bless you, because you make me laugh every single week, that apparently Kami Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, is somehow the engineer for PlayStation hardware, and he works for Sony. It makes me laugh every single time. Thank you, Game Seeker. Yes.
Yeah, we appreciate
working
you, bro.
for Nixus, I don't know. I mean, if he worked for Nixus, they'd shut down faster than Bluepoint. So I don't know. Who the hell knows?
Yeah, poor Nixus. I mean, we never really got a chance to dig into the PlayStation pulling PC and Nixus thing.
Aren't they working on other stuff though now? Like they're working on other first party titles, from what I understand.
Yeah, I mean,
like
they have a lot
titles from other studios. They got lots of stuff to do.
And PlayStation has a lot of games as a service titles that are going directly to PC. That they've got a bunch of those. They have more of those in the pipeline than first party games. So Nixus actually has a better chance of being alive than Bluepoint at this point. Although I don't know why they got rid of Bluepoint, because remasters are doing really well for PlayStation. It's half or quarter of their library, or third. Thank you. Who else joined? George Varney, thank you for joining. Raul Salgado, thank you for the 5. Says Colt, Mag, have you guys checked in on Phil Spencer recently? How's he feeling leaving Xbox? I haven't personally, but I've talked to a couple people who've messaged him. I don't bother Phil Spencer much. I kind of stopped messaging him when he wasn't really running Xbox anymore, which was like almost 2 years ago. I just kind of like, yeah, that's fine. But anyway, he's basically just gaming. He's been gaming a lot. I see him on Xbox. He's just probably not sweating every single day. I'm sure.
Phil, how you doing? Yeah. He said he's good. He's right there. He's sitting on the couch. He's been hanging out with me for like 4 days.
He's not watching the show either.
No, he's not watching the show. He's playing.
He's watching New Girl reruns. Play Fallout.
Why, he's playing Starfield again. You playing Starfield again? Why don't you just go to Colt's house?
He's playing on the PS5.
Starfield in his house. Yeah.
Yeah. BT Maverick,
Fallout
the famous.
Is not an alternative. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, the Fallout in space. How about that? BT Maverick. Thank you so much for the 5. Says, let's not forget that PS5 is a gimped PC that runs off of Linux with its games built on x86, which is PC, which is why the newly jailbroken PS5 can run Steam games. Yeah,
really?
I mean, you could do anything when you jailbreak a console, man. You can do your taxes on it.
I'm not into all that stuff. So
me either.
I'm not into all the jailbreaking.
I don't like wasting money and
I'm not really a tech guy, and the only thing I parent is movies. But anyways, yeah, go on. I didn't say anything. That wasn't me. Yeah.
I know. I made a post the other day about what was the first song you downloaded on Napster, and a bunch of people were like, "Oh, yeah, man. Good luck, FBI." I'm like, "Oh, shut up! No one's getting. Do you know that I got like Turkish prison for Napster?
Dude, you know that I got like 100-page like manifesto from this law firm in the United States. It was literally this thick, and it was summoning me to court.
How long ago?
Pirating movies. About a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
Jeez, bro.
Yeah, and it's it's like 100-page like legal documentation calling me to court for pirating movies, or whatever. So I sent them a note back that I won't tell you what it said. Because it's early in the day, so I'm not going to say the words I said. And then they can't do anything about it. They got no jurisdiction.
I can't have a convicted felon on my show. I mean, what are we doing here?
Well, you already had a convicted felon on your show before that. In all seriousness, they can't do anything about it.
Internationally convicted felon. Yeah.
I presented it to a lawyer, and then to one of my lawyers that I deal with, and then he literally laughed at it. He goes, "Dude, keep that for like just as a keepsake. It's really funny." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll keep it."
Bro, I got kicked off of NetZero, a free service for your internet, because I was online 24/7 downloading stuff. They're like, "You're using too much bandwidth." Back then, it was like, man, you use like 14 megabytes this month.
They knew that, like, if you were downloading like movies or whatever else, they'd be like, your activity is suspicious or whatever. It'd be like, and then we responded with like, "Hi, Rogers, why don't you mind your own business? You literally have it's like, I feel like, King Theoden, while he's still like under the spell of Saruman, is like, "You have no power here, Gandalf Greystone," or whatever he says.
Greymane or Grey? I think he calls him Greymane.
Greymane or I can't remember what he says. Hey, Stefano, Phil's eating a mortadella on a bun. I want to have mortadella on a bun. That's what I want, like right now.
Yeah,
dude, I want that.
Shout out to the 700 or so people are watching here, and a few people don't normally get to watch us live because, in the UK, we go up at 1 a.m. And if you're up watching a podcast like this at 1 a.m., you're crazy. But
it's pretty wild.
Shout out to everybody.
Shout out to Iron Storm. The man stays up all night, man. He's a maniac. When I do Madcast, it's like 11:30 at night my time, and he's still rocking. It's like 5 a.m. over there. I'm like, dude, how are you even doing this?
Sound like Bobcat for a minute there. You wake up at 5 in the morning.
Well, yeah, I know.
Sound like Bobcat mixed with
my voice
Christopher Walken.
Much to the chagrin of a couple of people. Yeah.
What's
my
coming
voice
back?
Is returning. My voice.
Yeah. Mine was like trying to go all week. I've had this thing like, well, I'm getting a cold, and then the next day, I think I'm getting a cold. I think I'm getting a cold every day. So, Kung Fu Hot Dog, thank you so much for the £5.
Hey!
Says, AMD gaming PCs are better value than the new Xbox hybrid console. Is malicious, Magalicious on Twitter, of course. Of course he's on Twitter.
Yeah, it should be an under middle-aged game guy or whatever the hell it is, or just look up the Mag Show. I'm there.
Yep.
Of course I'm there.
AMD's gaming PCs are better value. Kung Fu, let me tell you something. The difference that the shift in the industry is going to be Xbox's Magnus chip, because you can build an AMD PC and then you can upgrade it, which is a great value if you want to. But I'll tell you what, I've been gaming on PC for 15 years and I don't really upgrade. This is the only one I've upgraded. you play the thing for 5 years or so, and then you're like, it's getting kind of old. You're not going to pop that thing open and start sticking RAM in there, chase the GPU, because then you got power. It's a whole thing. After a few years, you're probably better off looking at maybe just getting a whole new build and moving on with the next bit of kit. So the point I was going to get at is this Xbox Helix will play all of those Xbox games plus PC. And until PC has that capability, the Xbox actually has more games than standard PC. It's insane. Shellboys, thanks for the 5. Moore's Law is Dead says it's compared to a 5080 desktop GPU. Yes, he said in rasterization or in ray tracing power, like there's certain parts of the Magnus chip that are beefed up, but when you build a PC that has a 5080 in it, it's got way more RAM. The CPU's probably bigger just because you're in that, you're building this big PC. But strictly in GPU raw rasterization or pixels alone, it might be close to that. He said the same thing with the PS6. Like you're already getting insane graphics. I'm pretty insane graphics for a $500 or $600 console. So thanks for that, Shells. Noda, thank you for the £5. His first time listening live. You were awesome and gave me a nice distraction when my late wife was unwell. Thank you for doing the show. So sorry to hear that. I'm glad you're here. Meg, this is like, if we can just make people have a slightly better day, we're luckiest guys on the planet,
dude.
man.
I'm you know what makes me smile at the end of the day? It's not like it's not even getting like I got a super chat here, I got this, or someone gifted me that. I love all that because all that goes back into my channel, hence why the quality of my stuff keeps getting better. It's not for me, it's for betterment of whatever. And so I keep doing that and I investing back in the channel. However, the thing that honestly, I know this is gonna sound really cheesy, but I absolutely mean it, is that the one thing that gets me every single time, and it actually literally makes me go to sleep with a smile on my face, is when I get messages, and I get them all the time. It says, "Hey man, I gone through this, I went through that, I go through that," and the only thing that really helps me through is whenever you make me laugh, or you go wild on a show, or I go madcast and I start doing crazy stuff and this and that, whatever. It goes, and just being able to take me away from my problems, I thank you for that and whatever, and you really helped me through this and that. And that's why I talk about, like last week I talked about on my show about men's mental health issues and stuff like that. I talked about that too. Anybody who knows me and knows my channel, I am very, very transparent. I have some pretty severe anxiety issues. Last Thursday, I was on a show and I had an anxiety attack in the middle of the show, and I literally clicked the off button and I left. I mean, I don't mean just left the show. I left my house. And so it took me 3 or 4 days to recover from it. That's how bad it was. And I talked about it on Madcast, and I said, listen, man, for everybody out there, the majority of my viewers are like 99.1% males to 0.9% females. So I'm speaking to the men in the audience. There's a stigma around men's mental health and problems that we have. And whether even if it's not mental health, just issues and problems that we have as men, the stigma around it is to keep it inside. You want to be a manly man and all that kind of stuff. You could be a manly man. You could be a manly man. There's no problem with that. But share your experiences with people and look for support from people. And those are the kind of things that will help you and help each other. So I tell people all the time, reach out to me, man. DM me, talk to me. Tell me whatever you want. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we'll talk about stuff and we can help each other. We've had people in my chat where, dude, a guy's father passed away while he was on the show. Right. And we talked him through it and everything else. And he came back the next day. And, now he's made a ton of friends. And that's the kind of stuff we need to do. So anyways, we will here to support you guys.
Yeah. And I just, excuse me. You got me there. I just learned about this with you the other day. So I'm like, there's no way that Mag deals with anxiety. This guy's bulletproof. Mag is like the kind of guy who
on the outside.
Yeah, he's got the kind of guy no one can get him down. No one can ruin his mood. I mean, I've known you for a while, and I was going through some pretty rough stuff this past week or two, and you and I have kind of been leaning on each other. And I want you guys to know that you do the same for us a lot of times. Like the funny crap you guys write in the chat, or the times when you correct us, or when you turn the light bulb on for us, and just the support you guys show means a lot. When you jump over to Mag's show, or people who are over here watching us because you're supporting all the crazy wild stuff Mag's doing, you guys mean a lot to us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. We're a community. This is not like, oh, you're my followers or you're my fans or you're this. Nah, man, we're family.
Followers. We're not even famous,
we're family.
Bro.
That's it.
Yeah, what's that? Yeah, we're not even famous.
We still have thousands of people watching us all the time, dude. So like,
it's like
we don't look at it like that. Just look
it's
at
like
it
Vin
as
Diesel always says in Fast and Furious, when you're here, you're family. Or it was Olive Garden. I think it was the same. I can't remember.
Your family. Yeah, it's always family. But anyways, in all seriousness,
he looks at his girlfriend. We're family. She's like, gross. True hero.
Yeah, it's like
thanks for the 5. You're like my sister, Letty. Disgusting.
Can you not say that while you're undressing?
He's like, we're practically cousins. Now it's like turning into Sylvester Stallone.
We're family. As he's undoing his top, and she's like, "Can you not say that right before we have?
We have the same family crest, Letty. Just forget
before we have
it.
relations."
I'm gonna have relations with my relations. We're family.
Oh my god.
Then I'm going to go reverse 170 miles an hour with the car on fire and win the race. It's amazing. True hero, thank you for the 5. Hey, by the way, Fast and the Furious, best cinema in the world. If you're ever in a bad mood, just go watch a Fast and Furious movie. Don't worry about if it's not real. It's just fun enjoyment. Just go have a good time. And by the way, why in the heck is EA not fully remastering Need for Speed Underground and paying the extra money, you lazy, cheap suckers? Pay the extra money, get all of the licensed music in the game that was in there, remaster Need for Speed Underground or not Underground, Most Wanted, the original Most Wanted, and just watch it print money. That's my tech talk for TED Talk.
So good.
True hero, thank you for the 5. Says older brother has only known PlayStation. He got a Series S and Game Pass and loves it. Said the $30 for all the games he could play is great, and he hasn't touched his PlayStation. We're going to talk about Game Pass's entrance into the exclusive thing in just a moment. It's the Broke Boy. Thank you so much for the 5. Says, use that blank check to make every big game coming out in 2027 and 2028 an Xbox console and PC exclusive. If true, I'm hesitant. Believe it too, though, he says. But it's what people want. We're going to get into it. Spitfire Spud. Thank you for the 5. He's been around a long time. Good dude. Says, what would the 3 things Xbox need to do with that blank check to turn it around? They would definitely need to remove the online paywall without a doubt. I'll tell you that Jez Corden is claiming that they are planning on completely removing the paywall if you're on the next generation console. They're probably going to make you pay for it if you're still on Series S or X or Xbox One, but they have no justification to charge you for online if you're on a PC console hybrid. So we'll talk about that as well when we talk about all this stuff kind of goes together. Broke Boy, thanks for the other 5. I'm almost done here. He says, question, my Marathon Special Edition headset and controller came in. I didn't know they made one. Do I open it or save it? Oh, in case like the game fails. I still have an unopened Concord controller. Currently, it's $375 on eBay.
Save it. Do not open it. Do not open it. Do not open it. Keep it. It might be worth something later on down the road, dude. Just keep it.
Okay.
Seriously, I'm being dead serious. Do not open it. Keep it sealed. The headphones I can't see being like a thing, but certainly the controller will definitely retain its value and gain in value over time, especially if the game like fails. But
yeah,
you know what I mean? But I'm just saying, I would not open it.
I think Marathon's going to do okay. Its numbers are looking decent.
It'll do all right.
Like Gaz saying he's really enjoying it, and I think Rand said he was actually having some fun. I can't remember his name. No, Gaz and Rand said they were enjoying it, but
oh, really? Rand too? I didn't think Rand was that in. Like, I know Gaz is into those kind of games, but I didn't think Rand
kind of likes that stuff. But he said he was playing it last night instead of Arc Raiders, and I said, "How is he?" He goes, "It's all right, it's fun." So, hey,
interesting.
We don't want it to die. I mean, it doesn't do anything for me.
No, nobody. I don't want it to die. I was just making a joke about the thing, but I'd still not open the controller. Don't open the controller. Just keep it. That could be worth something. I mean, I don't know how many they made or whatever, but now is he talking about an Xbox controller? Because I know I saw a DualSense Marathon controller. I saw that like on Twitter or something. Like someone posted one on Twitter.
I'm gonna look. I'm gonna see what it looks like. Oh yeah, the DualSense one's cool. It's white. It's got the neon green and black like caution thing on one side. It kind of reminds me of
X1. Did they make an Xbox controller as well, or was it just the DualSense that he's referring to?
It doesn't look like it. No. Because it's a PlayStation first party studio, they just did a DualSense, it looks like. So I'm sure that's what Broke Boy's talking about.
Okay, just DualSense. Broke Boy just said in the chat. I just saw it. He goes, just DualSense.
Yeah. Stitchiest, thank you so much for the The Argentine pesos says Xbox should keep the name Helix for the next console. They probably won't. Xbox is a name that works just for the English, but for the rest of the world, nothing starts with an X. Except for Xstasis, who's actually in Spain, not in Mexico, which I always mess up where he's from, but I don't know the guy and don't talk to him. So, all right, let's talk about the exclusivity thing, Mag. I don't know where to start. You and I had a really in-depth discussion about what Xbox should do, but I did a lot of talking. I want you to kind of get started on this discussion about what Asha needs to do. Let's start with what she needs to do. Let's hear it. What do you got?
The thing is, I can't tell the CEO what she needs to do. I think I have to react to how she moves, because I've been looking into her a lot, and no, not just you know what I'm saying. Don't put your minds in the gutter, okay? I meant like on a business level. I've been looking into her a lot. I've been watching some of the other when they have those little TED Talks where they're on stage and they do like the talks on the round stage and all that kind of stuff, and she's talking to like the staff, and she was at a couple of those conventions, like the tech conventions. She was at an AI convention, and I sat through 2 of her talks because I want to kind of get a vibe of what kind of a person she is, right? Very straight to the point, very knowledgeable, extremely intelligent woman. Definitely knows what she's talking about. Very driven. She is not a bibble babble person that just parrots what someone else says. She's got a very strong mind for herself, and that's what I gathered from everything that I've watched of her. If anybody, actually, I made a video earlier in the week talking about how they, when they announced the codename Project Helix, and I actually used footage from some of those the little talks and whatever that she had in the presentations that she was part of. I put some clips of those up there. Obviously, no audio because I was talking. Anyways, that being said, I don't know what the power dynamic looks like with her and Satya, because it's not going to be the same as Satya and Phil. So there is a possibility that the business strategy can be altered with her, as opposed to just being a yes man, because then why would she take the position at that point? I mean, apart from money, but the thing is, he would have to talk to her. She was already the CEO of their core AI. And so what I'm thinking is, he goes over there, he approaches her, he likes the way that she operates business and says, hey, we got a situation over here that needs some love, okay? I won't say fixing, because Xbox is still making money. And as I said, you asked me on Monday, I think it was last Monday, the Monday before. No, it was last Monday. You said, is Xbox dead? And I said, no. I said, it's just not growing the way they want. I said, so it's not, no. So you said, is it failing? And I said, it's not failing. It's not growing the way they want. So at that point, Satya can approach her and say, listen, you have a track record of bringing businesses up in terms of not only value, but also in terms of engagement. So I want to bring you over there. And so he brings her over there. But the thing is, what would be the motivation for her? She's not a stupid person. She's going to sit down with him, and instead of being like, she's going to say, what am I, you're putting my reputation on the line. What are you offering me in order to do this? At that point, he has to be able to come to the table. Well, you're definitely not a blank check, but certainly he has to come to the table and compromise and say, listen, you have carte blanche to do this, and this. However, you still have to fit within the parameters of this, whatever business model they already have in place. That brings up exclusivity, as we're now discussing. I don't think that was ever in the plan. I don't think that's ever going to be in the plan. The reason why, there's 2 reasons that I'm thinking. The one reason is Game Pass. Now, the reason, the thing is that Game Pass being where it is, as far as we know, hasn't really gone up or down. It's sort of just kind of there. Around that 30 million plus mark or whatever, unless they announce otherwise. We do not have solid figures. That being the case, sales is what they're looking at. Hence why they started Project Latitude to begin with. Project Latitude was not only just to appease a 30% 30% profit margin. It was also because there was a stagnancy within Game Pass. That being said, the sales are not there. So they started expanding outwards. Okay, we talked about this last night when I talked about Resident Evil Requiem. For example, for anybody in the chat that doesn't see it, out of those 5 million sales that happened in the first, 3 to 5 days or whatever the hell it is that within those 3 to 5 days, Capcom sold 5 million copies of Resident Evil. The percentages are as follows. 56% were sold on PlayStation. They had the marketing deal as well, so that kind of helps. 34% were on PC. You ready for this, folks? 6% was sold on Xbox. That is abysmal. So when you look at that, what is the motivation for Microsoft, let's say Satya and Amy Hood, not Asha, Satya, to look down at those numbers and say 54%, not 56, 54% versus 6, and they're like, and these guys want us to put this exclusive. Who's going to buy it? Because then the other problem is, like I said, you've already got that steady income of Game Pass coming in. It's not seems to be going up in a huge way. Is that at that point you have to look at it and say, oh my God, what are we talking about here? Who's going to buy these if people are waiting for Game Pass? We've even had other prominent Xbox YouTubers and people in the community say the exact same thing. They're like, people are now have been trained and attuned to basically just get these games in Game Pass. So therefore, it won't happen. It won't happen. It doesn't make any sense. And the thing is, I think at this point, I think they're beyond the point of, well, let's lose money for the next 3 or 4 years or whatever it is as we slowly build this brand up, or 5 years. I think they're past that, because I think the other thing is, you and I talked about this behind the scenes, is it's no longer just about just that business. You're also trying to appease the stockholders, and the stockholders are not going to swallow another 3 to 5 years of loss or hemorrhaging of money in order to try to build up something that they don't care about. The investors don't care. They just want to see a return on investment, and they want to see all the numbers pointing in the right direction. They don't care about, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like a sports team where they're like, we're starting from zero. You know, when a sports team is like in last place, and they're like, we're doing a 5-year plan of rebuilding from the ground up. We're getting a bunch of kids, and we're going to rebuild this franchise. Investors aren't into that. Investors are like, no, otherwise I'm pulling my money out now. So, and I know, because a lot of those investors I speak to, and they tell me exactly that. And it's come up in the investor calls. They're like, we don't care about what they're doing. We just want to see the numbers on the up and up, especially if we're investing millions of dollars.
And they need that change quickly, right? Is what you're saying.
Exactly. So I don't think that they're interested in the patience of rebuilding a brand beyond, like I said, the business parameters that are already there. So I think that any thoughts of exclusivity are not really going to happen. Now, the other thing I was just going to bring up, sorry, go ahead. Yep. What's up?
I want to just interject. A couple people are explaining that that's a UK sales chart figure.
Yes, sorry, my apologies. Yeah, it wasn't.
I mean, and you covered that in your video. You said that in your video, and it was digital sales, right? And I would say that makes Xbox not look as bad, but Xbox is fairly decent in the UK. If that was like a European sales chart, I would say, well, I mean, Xbox has no traction there at all, but there's a decent amount of people in the UK that are on the Xbox ecosystem. So you're just looking at a proportion, right? Well, for those of you who are saying, hey, Meg, what about this? You know, it is just UK, but typically UK people have very similar spending habits in the gaming industry across the US. So it would be a proportion thing. You just have to say, well, if that's just UK sales, like someone said, that's like 300,000 sales in the UK on the Xbox storefront. If I was to go to if I was going to go to my Xbox right now, I could tell you where Resident Evil Requiem sits on the Xbox console storefront, because they rank the games in the store according to bestsellers. But that also, gosh, I load up my Xbox, I get a huge full screen ad for Marathon. Nope. Okay, so if I look at the storefront just really quickly here, home, and then I look for new games, top paid games, I'll get you an answer here. Resident Evil Requiem is at the very top of the Xbox console right now. The standard edition at $70 US is number 1. Number 2 is the deluxe edition, and Dead Island 2 Ultimate and Arc Raiders are 3 and 4, with Minecraft at number 5. So
Dead Island 2 still?
It went on a massive sale. It was like $9 on consoles.
Okay.
I don't know how much the Ultimate Edition is, but let me shut that off. But yeah, I mean, I'm not here to defend, because I wholly agree with what Mag said. Mag said that Xbox gamers
We're
have
talking
been
business,
conditioned-
not feelings. I see some people in the chat losing their friggin' minds, and I'm like, guys, man,
Yeah.
get out of your feelings. This is business. It ain't personal. So
Yeah.
if anybody thinks that, calling me names or saying some stupid shit like that, it's got nothing to do with that. This is all
Right.
business. And if your mind is not in business, then your mind should not be in the conversation because you're not getting it. Like I speak to the people that are making those decisions in Microsoft, and they don't care. It's all about the money and the business. Period.
Yeah. And
that's what it's all about.
I can tell you, I've seen.
You know what I mean?
What am I, right? I have a channel, and I get about 1,000 comments on my channel, and I read through a lot of them. I'll get them on Twitter and then on my YouTube videos. I see a lot of times Xbox fans will say, "Nah, I'm gonna wait for it to come to Game Pass." So if you're looking at something like Resident Evil Requiem, $70 right now, and you're like, and then you're like, oh, it'll probably be on Game Pass next year. It might be on Game Pass in 2 years. But Game Pass has conditioned Xbox users to be more frugal with their money, because back when I used to play a lot on Game Pass, I cannot tell you how many times a game came to Game Pass 6 months to a year later when I paid full price for it. I'm like, I could have waited and played something else and basically got that game for free. So that's a viable argument. Now I want to talk about Game Pass itself could be hindering the ability for Xbox to grow their platform, because
that's exactly what I was kind of alluding to. I wasn't saying that exactly, but I was kind of alluding to that there is a lingering problem there. But that's going to open up a whole other can of worms that would be really, really ugly, if they decide to go down that road. But
it could. And I don't know if Paris still wants to jump in here, but I invited him to come in, because you're going to leave it here at a certain point. But,
yes.
Oh my gosh, I'm like, where am I? I'm trying to put the timestamp in. I put the timestamps in while we're doing the show so you guys can have them as soon as we rock out. So, Game Pass is, Game Pass could change in big ways. So as I talked about last week, they make $1 billion in pure profit on Game Pass at 30 million subscribers. But maybe Asha needs to look at the data. And we covered this so well because it was just Monday. It was just 5 days ago where we said Xbox has never had the opportunity to show what their first-party studios can do exclusive-wise or outside of Game Pass, because they started putting them on PlayStation as soon as they actually had games. So there's that cold that's coming in.
Yeah, I hear it a little bit.
There are a ton of fans who are saying right now, I would gladly give up Game Pass day and date first-party games if it meant Xbox had exclusivity away from PlayStation. I don't think it's too late for Asha and the team to say, Gears E-Day and Fable, and cancel the Forza Horizon 6 port. Or maybe they're like, it's already in the works, just let it go ahead. But it's not too late for them to say, let's see what happens. We don't have the numbers as a full exclusive platform with a crap ton of games. I was going to say another word that I don't even know exists. With a chat number of games. They don't have that data, because you were saying last week, Asha's got to look at the data and see what they should do. So maybe what she needs to do is like, we need to get rid of, we're going to get that. The year thing is another good topic.
Yes.
She has to look at what does it look like if we force our customers to buy our games, and are they worth it? Because all of us sitting here right now, if we could buy Fable next month for $70 or wait to get it in October on Game Pass, I bet a big chunk of you are like, I want it now. I'll buy it right now. I want to play Fable now. If it's ready, I'm not waiting for it for free. So there are certain games that just leap off the page. And what you're alluding to, and I agree with you, is if Xbox says, we're going to put our first party games on Game Pass, you'll get them, they'll be on Game Pass, but there's going to be delayed time. They're not going to say when. They would give it a year or just after a year. When the timing's right, when the 12 months is up and the timing's open, Fable drops onto Game Pass. And there are a chunk ton, is the word I wanted to say, of people who would rather have Game Pass lose those games day and date if it meant that PlayStation no longer got those games. And before I give you the mic, Mag,
no, I have a question for you.
Give me one game that sold really well on the PS5 ever since they did Project Latitude. And you can't say Forza Horizon 5 because I only think of one game that actually sold well outside of Forza on the PS5. I don't think their multi-platform strategy has been amazing like PlayStation and PC thought was going to be.
The only one I could think of outside of Forza that did decent was Indiana Jones. I think. I don't even think Doom did very well over there either.
I don't think it did either. And I couldn't, I mean,
but Doom was always multi-platform. Even the first two Dooms were multi-platform, and then the third one was multi-platform as well. But I think Indiana Jones did okay over there, from what I understand. I mean, I don't have exact figures unless someone in the chat can look it up. Oh, yeah, Sea of Thieves.
Dude.
Sorry, my God, I completely forgot about Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves was monstrously popular. But you know the thing is, though, a lot of those games, whatever, agree or not agree, they didn't connect with the community. So it didn't matter where you put them. People weren't playing them. They weren't even playing them on Xbox, for Christ's sake.
Are you ready for this, Mag?
You know what I mean? Like Hell. No, I was about to say Helldivers. What the hell is it called? The one with the chick with the voices. For Christ's sake, what the hell is that?
Oh, Hellblade.
Hellblade. Yeah, Hellblade 2 didn't even do well on Xbox. For you know what I mean?
No, it didn't.
Avowed
those
didn't
games
do well
don't
on
jump
Xbox.
off the page. Are you
Outer
ready
Worlds
for this?
2 didn't do well on Xbox. Like,
or
they
PlayStation.
didn't do well over there. Why would they do well over there? You know what I was saying, Colt, is the proof of the pudding is this year, because they've got 5 flagship titles that are big AAA bangers coming from Xbox.
Halo.
2026 is going to be the year that you're going to see the metric, because you're going to have Forza Horizon, you're going to have Halo, you're going to have Gears of War, you're going to have Fable and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4. 5 huge games coming from Xbox. If you can't do it this year, that's a different story. But that's why I said Asha needs the year to look at the metrics and see, because you're not going to be looking at how many games you pumped out. Now you got to be looking at what quality of games are pumping out and if they're connecting with the community. Right. That's going to be the key to all this. Because if they start selling millions of copies, let's say Gears E-Day is an absolute banger, okay? It's busting ass on Xbox. It's selling on Xbox and PC. It's Game Pass engagement is up. It sells millions of copies on PlayStation. Then this whole argument has got nothing to do except for connecting with the community. And if those games that we were just talking about did not connect with the community, then you have to look at a quality standpoint of view of what people want and what they don't want. And that's the key to it. That's what it's all about. So I mean, she's got a chance this year.
PlayStation's issue wasn't how many people on PC buy their games. They were just good. Yeah. PlayStation's games were just old by the time they hit the PC. So it's like, do I really need to play that game, or am I good? But I don't know. Indiana Jones sold 28% faster on PS5 than it did Xbox. I don't know where that actual number comes from. I think it comes from Alina Analytics, kind of hit or miss on their accuracy. But when I said Forza Horizon 5, Indiana Jones sold 117,000 copies in the first week on the PS5. The Forza Horizon 5 sold 700,000 copies the first 3 days on PC and Xbox. Like 7 times more people bought Forza Horizon 5 when it first launched than Indiana Jones when it came to PS5. So I kind of agree. Indiana Jones did okay, but I think the only heavy sellers
Sea of Thieves was a big
Sea of Thieves and Forza for PlayStation.
And Forza, so what? 5? Was it 3 million or 4 million? 5 million?
3 or 5, I can't remember. But Asha's got to look
damn good. I heard you, dude. Jesus Christ. Yeah, anyways, go on. What's the matter with you, dude? Go see a therapist, man.
What? Lay it on the line. We'll fix it. What is it?
No, it's done. It's done. Anyways, the thing is, talking you've got
about
a chance this year.
Requiem stuff.
Listen, man, you know the thing is, like I said, someone else said, Meg, stop it. Listen, I'm not going to stop it. I'm telling you the truth. If you guys can't face the truth and you want an echo chamber, there are other shows you can listen to that will do all of that for you. If you want the reality of the situation, the reality is Outer Worlds 2 did not hit.
It didn't.
Avowed did not hit.
And
Indiana Jones was okay. That was actually pretty good.
It should have been a bigger hit.
It actually did pretty good.
You know, like Fonz
Doom also did not hit numbers. The guys at ID, id Software said that Doom did not reach their expectations either. I could go on and on if you like. So then it doesn't matter.
That's what I'm saying. Asha doesn't have any good data. Like where are the heavy hitters? How did they do outside of PS5? They don't really have any data. So
the one that they did, like a Forza, sold insanely well because Forza are quality games that people love to play. Whether you like racing or not, you cannot deny the quality of Forza Horizon specifically, because the Forza Motorsport, the last one, wasn't great, but it was what it was. But the thing is at the end of the day, like I said, you've got all those flagship titles coming this year. We will be having this conversation again, everybody, in December when we see those numbers. When we see those numbers of how those bigger games did over there, that's going to give you a proper litmus test and the proper analytics and metrics that you can literally look at and say, okay, now we have some data based on our flagship titles. And that's what's going to happen. I'm telling you right now, that's exactly how it's all going to go down. 2027 is going to be a different beast. We'll talk about that next year when we get to that point. But we're going to talk about 26 this year because this is a big year for Microsoft.
Yeah, Halo,
it's a
Gears,
big year for
Forza,
them
and Fable.
Big games.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Music goes, what's the P in X and Z? It's experience newscast. It's kind of an inside joke we're running a little while because a bunch of people changed.
We were doing it for a while,
yeah. I'm keeping it there for fun. I think it looks cool, but we do talk about everything in gaming, but these people who are yanking the Xbox name off of at a time when Xbox is huge. Someone goes, hey, you want to see numbers? They said this to me this morning. The Wolverine tweet had like 4.5 million views from PlayStation, and Xbox's Project Helix had 13 million views.
That's nice.
I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just console war nonsense. But
I know. Yeah.
If you're like Xbox is dead, no one cares, you're not paying attention. Like Xbox is big.
No.
This is a big moment right now, and this is going to be a difficult thing for me, Mag, to say. How much time do you have while you're here with me? Because I
got 20 minutes.
Okay,
22 minutes to be exact.
And I'll stick around here to cover the rest of the news if Mag has to dip out. But this is going to be a very difficult thing for me to say. And I appreciate you guys for being here to support us. So we've got 874 people watching live. Hit the like button. It's something Meg and I never say. We don't beg for likes. But if you're
I never do it on my show either. I always forget.
Yeah, he's got better things and more important things. We're trying to get you guys the news as fast as possible. But if you're enjoying the show, you're learning stuff, or the chat's helping you out, and you feel like you're in a good community, hit the like button. It shows the support. And I don't know. It tells like the magic beans that are swirling behind the YouTube that the show's doing okay, I guess. But we appreciate you. And I'll get to supers, but this is a very difficult thing I have to say, and super embarrassing. But I have to say it because another major shift is coming. And when in December of 2023, when I heard from a very trusted insider that Xbox was going to start looking at putting games on PlayStation, the very first thing I said, knowing no one was watching or listening, I was in a party chat with Randolph Thor, who had heard from his trusted insider that Xbox is going to put games on PlayStation. The very first thing I said was, I can tell you why Xbox should put their games on PlayStation. I didn't say, oh my gosh. I didn't say, what? Stop. No, stop. I didn't say anything like that because I'm a nearly 50-year-old gamer. I've been around for a long time, and I have to think about things logically. I kind of gave this speech last week, but the very first thing I said is like, this is why they will do it. I will tell you how they're going to justify it and how it will benefit them. We get into 2024. Mag and I are here the moment it drops. One of the biggest shows we ever had was the day after the news was broken by Xbox Era and Special Nick and John Clark and Jesse. Really big moment. And you and I sat here and we didn't cry. We didn't pitch a fit. We didn't cuss and yell. We didn't call Phil Spencer names or say we want to chop off Satya's head and put it on a pike. We just said, hey, what does this mean for us as the industry? And I also told you guys many times that I lost exclusivity in the list war, which I was in, but I'm also getting way more games than I had when I had bragging rights with Recore. So I also said many times, exclusivity is dissolving and games and franchises and gamers will all benefit from it. I still believe that they will benefit from it and we will benefit and franchises will. But exclusivity is taking yet another change where PlayStation is going to yank their games off of Steam day and date, which you won that bet full square, by the way.
I know I won that bet. You owe me a Coke, by the way.
I do. I owe you more than that.
Coca-Cola. Actually, I'll take a Dr. Pepper. I haven't had one of those in a very long time.
I'll get you a
Diet Dr. Pepper.
We will have a Diet Dr. Pepper when we meet up in LA and do some karaoke. So, what was I saying about the bet? Yeah, I mean, exclusivity is changing. And so Project Latitude isn't really working for Xbox, I don't think. And so I've said many times that it will benefit, and this is how it is. But I also fully know that you can't stop a corporation when they make a major business decision, and crying and yelling and pitching a fit is not going to get them to change it. So I had to look at how it benefited us as gaming consumers. And honestly, if there's no exclusives, everybody wins because everybody gets to play all the games. They get to play where they want. But the problem is, I couldn't believe it when I heard this. One of my friends who has a very prominent podcast said, exclusives actually generate extra hype that a regular game might not get. Well, that doesn't track when you look at Expedition, Ark, Red Dead Redemption, Grand Theft Auto, Resident Evil. You just name all the, like Silk Song. You name these amazing games that are high quality, super competitive, and ultra popular. And would exclusivity make them a little bit popular? My friend says, yeah, they would, because oh shoot, I can't get that, generates a little bit more uplift. I don't know how measurable it is, but it's working for PlayStation. So the difficult, I said all this a lot. This is my last sentence.
No,
it's
go ahead,
difficult for me because I will have to make a personal shift if Xbox actually brings back exclusivity, because I'm not going to, when Asha says we're going to pull our games off of PlayStation, I can't go, gosh dang it. Because why? They're going to make the decision. They're going to do it. So it's put me in a really difficult position because people, sorry, Meg, this is the other sentence. People say that I just do whatever Microsoft says.
No, you don't.
What the heck am I going to do why am I going to stamp my feet? When Microsoft says they're going to do this, I have to look at how does this benefit me? Because the list war was fun, but the list war just meant I missed out on where I could buy my games, or it just, the bragging rights didn't do anything for me, but I was able to flex my muscles. Sorry, Mag, what do you got? I was
going to say something. No, it's great. I was going to say something interesting about what you said about talking to the other prominent YouTuber about those third-party games. When you were saying that, and you said, you actually kind of said it before I got to, but you said it's worked for Sony. Well, the funny thing is, have you noticed that all those big titles that you mentioned, most of them, not all of them, but most of them, who are they marketed with?
PlayStation.
Who are they marketed with?
Yeah.
They're marketed to PlayStation because Sony understands that as well. That yes, the exclusive thing is incredibly important. It's part of their brand recognition. Like, you could put a face like Kratos out there. You could put a face like Joel or whatever, right? And like any of their Spider-Man, and that's synonymous with PlayStation. However, they've done something that has been working for years through their marketing, and then they market all those big games. Why do you think they have GTA 6? Why do you think they have every Rockstar game for the last 15 years, except for Grand Theft Auto 4, which I believe came on Xbox? Hogwarts Legacy. All the biggest titles you can think of are all being marketed with who?
With PlayStation. Get the exclusive assless chaps in Red Dead Redemption 2.
Well, yeah, you could do that too. But the thing is, the general public don't watch XNC. They don't watch Xbox. They don't watch Iron Lords. Good. They don't watch Iron Lords. They don't watch Boomstick. They don't watch any of these people. You know what I mean? You know what they do? They just go about their lives and do their thing. But when they go to the store and they see a blue banner advertising the game, they immediately associate... Yeah, or a cardboard cutout or whatever. And how many times have you talked to a casual? And I know, chat, tell me the same thing. Please please tell me. How many people have said, oh, I thought that was, you could only get that on PlayStation. How many times did you hear that? I have heard it countless times over the years where I said, well, actually, I'm playing it on Xbox. Where, like if there was a game, I was playing a third-party game and I was playing Hogwarts Legacy on Xbox, people would be like, oh, I thought you could only get that on PlayStation. I saw the ad on TV during the NBA playoffs or whatever, right? And so that's Another thing that they do. So they bolster up not only just the exclusivity, but it's also part of the marketing. Right. And because of that marketing and making a product that doesn't even belong to you synonymous with your brand, that is another thing. That's why do you think Sony owns a Hollywood studio? They own Hollywood studios because they know how to sell the sizzle. They own Sony Animation. They own Sony Pictures. You know what I mean? And they know how to do that stuff. If something doesn't belong to them, they still make it synonymous with their brand for the average consumer. I'm not talking about the hardcore. I'm talking about the average consumer. And that is why I have felt, and I've said it before, and I know many people feel the same, Xbox marketing has been a severe issue that clearly Asha's doing something about it because she hired 2 marketing experts, right? I think this week, or was it earlier this week? I think it was on Monday.
Yeah, or started to hire, put out a
messaging and marketing. Those are the things that Xbox has been absolutely abysmal at for years. And it's been confusing messaging for outsiders, not the hardcore who watch all these shows. Confusing messaging and piss poor marketing. You know that I didn't even know that Avowed came out on PlayStation? It apparently came out like a week ago.
It's because it's what you said. Obsidian doesn't get any marketing push proper from Xbox. And so they were tweeting out their own game. Like, dude, they got to use their Twitter account, which is not a big account. Hey, I got an update. Tom Warren replied about the Ecstasis rumor about the blank check.
Oh, yeah. About the town hall.
Yeah, and I bet he's writing an article because he didn't answer. Someone says, do you know anything about this, Tom? And he said, he didn't say that exactly. Which is interesting because somebody in the chat, Jesus, said Tom Warren shut down that comment. But Tom Warren said he didn't say that exactly. And myself and Jesus is right here. He said, what did he say? And I said, what did he say exactly? But I bet Tom is actually working on writing up an article about it if he's not replying on Twitter after that moment. But if he's saying he didn't say that exactly, he must have said something to the effect of that he wants Asha to just go for it, or hey, go do what you need to do. I would assume that Satya probably says, do what you need to do, run it by me, and let's see where we're at. I mean, that's what I would say if I was Satya. Let us compete.
Well, 100%. It's got to go by his place. She's not going to go run willy-nilly and do whatever she wants.
You know that Phil Spencer went and jumped after ABK, and he was like, ooh, I really want to do this. And then he was like, hey, Satya, by the way, I want to buy ABK. I've run all the numbers. I want to do this. And Satya's like, okay, let's have a look at it. But Phil is ready to just pull the trigger. And then he's like, I better ask Daddy. So
can you imagine? It's like, how much is it, Phil? And he's like, oh, it's not much. It's only what's that? Oh, it's not that much. It's only less.
It's like when you're asking your mom, like, hey,
billion?
Can I get one of the? Can you buy me a PlayStation? How much? I
don't know. It's obviously
Negan goes. J-Dub is crashing out, punching
signed off on Amy Hood. Amy Hood's the CFO of Microsoft.
Yes.
She's not some pushover. She's the second in charge for crying out loud. Yeah. It's got to cross his plate and then her plate. If it doesn't cross her plate, it stops there.
Oh, here's another.
That's it. It stops there.
This backs up what, Mag just said. Tom Warren says Satya has direct reports to CEOs of orgs so that he doesn't have to have hands-on for every decision. Asha will have a similar reporting tree. They definitely need to clear about Project Latitude and whether they're exclusives or temporary exclusives. And I want to say that we don't know. We have no idea what Xbox is going to do. But what they're doing right now is not working. It's not working. So let me read a couple.
We don't know until the end of this year, Colt. That's the only thing that I'm saying. Let's wait till December.
You think she's going to sit until they do showcase, until they do 25th anniversary, and then she's going to start making decisions?
Well, here's the thing. They already promised those games over there. They've already announced and advertised those games over there on the other side of the pond, right? So what are you going to do? You're going to pull those back now? After they had the things where it says coming to Xbox Series, PlayStation, PC, whatever, right? And they've had those things out there. They're already advertising the games on the storefront on PlayStation, not all of them. But if you go, I remember I told you about you go to the PlayStation store and Master Chief is right there with his gun and everything. And I'm like, look at that. Who thought this day would ever happen, right? But either way, they can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
No, you can't.
I just don't. I mean, you can, but I don't think they're going to do it. But this year is going to be very telling.
You said they can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, but they've really only done about 6 months of actual Project Latitude, and PlayStation did 2 years of PC games, and they're already yanking just the single player stuff. I think Xbox has every right to make a wholesale change. I got another one for you. What if
they have the right to do whatever they want?
They do.
I mean, they can do whatever they want. I'm just saying, from a business sense, I don't know.
Okay, let me start with this. Let me start with this.
All right, go.
Don't let me forget about their Steam approach.
Okay.
But I think what you're going to see first from Asha is a crotch kick of this is an Xbox, no console required, Xbox everywhere, the dilution of the brand, where they have poured so much water on it that if she's looking at any metric, I'm sure they have access to some kind of metric about the popularity and the talk and the hype and the positivity about the brand, and it must be in the absolute toilet since they started telling their fans, you don't matter, we're going after people who don't give a shiz about gaming, which is what I get from those marketing beats that have gone on the past 2 years. We're trying to gather the people that don't give a crap about the next open world action adventure game. We're trying to yank them over to our ecosystem on a freaking dongle or whatever. What's that thing called? The Google speedboat. What's the freaking word? I can't even think of the Google thing you plug in the side of your TV.
The Fire Stick thing or whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah, the Amazon Fire Stick. I don't know. I couldn't.
The
think
Amazon
of it.
Fire Stick. Yeah.
Sorry, I got a lot on my mind. The Chromecast. Thank you,
it's all
Donnie.
good.
By the way, Yodani, he's got some cool coins and stuff heading his way here in a few days.
Nice.
He's been patient for 7 years while I waited to do that. Shout out to the mods, Happy Bomb and Yodani for keeping the chat. Well, the chat's amazing. You guys are awesome.
Chat's awesome.
I had I hate to say it, senior moment. I can probably start saying that now with my AARP card. The fart stick. Yeah, there it is. So they need to just ninja kick those marketing beats out, like not use them anymore. Like, we're not doing that. We're not saying that. We're still going to support those things, but our marketing needs to be the console and the PC and the games. That's it. If you want to bring back Xbox, your marketing beat, and if you bring in a marketing guy's like, dude, if you want to know what people give a shiz about, it's the hardware and it's the games. This other crap, stop talking about it. Just quietly support it. Let people funnel in naturally like they were anyway with your freaking, you can get with this or you can get with that. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. You love that song.
You know, she still said that, Colt, though, last week. She still said,
we're going to meet
on top
gamers.
of saying that
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, but she did say, like, when she's saying, "Well, we're going to focus on the console and everything else," and I'm like, "All right, that's a good direction." However, she also said in the same breath, she's also saying, "But we are going to bring experiences of games to the gamers where they play."
Yeah.
So that if that doesn't tell you exactly what she's doing, that means that she's doing the same thing. Like, that's still part of the business plan. I don't buy anything else. Well, this year I buy it. Maybe next year, anything's on the table after this year. But this year, I think this year is going to be a grand experiment, my friend. Where, like I said, you've got those 5 flagship titles going multi-platform, and that's going to be the proof of the pudding. If they don't sell after that, then they could say, you know what? Just like PlayStation and PC, they'd be like, listen, it's not worth it. Let's just keep our stuff over here because we're making a boatload over here. Let's just do what we're doing.
Yeah, maybe.
And that would be the grand experiment where then she's going to look at the metrics because you don't think they're pumping everything into AI for her so that she can, they print out all the reports and she reads them all and analyzes them.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. So at the end of this year, if you can't make it with 5 flagship titles over there, then you can start having a different conversation. I don't know. That's the way I see it.
Okay, I mean, I agree with you about like how much toothpaste can you actually put back in the tube, right? So when she says we're going to meet gamers where they are, maybe that's her way. This is hopium for me. Maybe that's her way of saying we're not going to get rid of those accessibility points.
Right.
We're still going to allow cloud on multiple devices. If you want to play directly on a Samsung or LG TV or whatever, you can do that. But we're going to focus on the core part of the gaming audience. And for the people who are like, I just like playing on my Samsung, they're going to still support that, I think. But they need to wholesale change.
Well, they would have to, dude.
Yeah.
They would have to, because the other thing is, as we've discussed before, if indeed this Project Helix is very expensive, you're going to be pricing a lot of people out of the hardware. They've even said internally, they said that internally they project that they're going to sell less than 10 million units. That makes sense, considering if they keep that price range or whatever. But then at that point, you still have to offer support for the Series X and the S for those people who are not going to upgrade, and accessibility in other ways through technology, through cloud, smart televisions, smart monitors, all that kind of stuff, the Fire Sticks, everything that we've discussed already. So those are all things that they're going to have to do, because they are not lost on the fact that if this thing is indeed incredibly expensive, which it will be, a lot of people will not buy it. You could have people all day saying, I'm buying it day one. That's fine.
Of course.
That's fine. You'll be part of that. You'll be part of the crowd that does buy it. But if you're looking at that 85% casual, when Nintendo Switch 2 sales completely cooled off, the number one reason when pulled was it's too expensive.
Yeah. King Fanman says,
the casual market.
Fanman in the chat says, Asha Sharma's whole background is marketing. She has this, he says. Maybe that's what we needed. Like, Phil was the gamer, but he's also, he came from a long gone era and, evolved with it. What I want to talk about with Steam is maybe Xbox needs to strike some sort of deal with Steam, because one of my friends said, these aren't my ideas. I get to talk to people and they say things. I'm like, oh, and one of the things they said was maybe Xbox should stop putting their games on Steam, because if they're going to have this Magnus thing, their first-party games will be available to buy on their platform. And if you put them on Steam, some people may choose to just buy the Steam version, because the Steam version can be better because it can get updates sooner. But the other thing of Project Helix is that we'll probably hear this at GDC, starting on Monday through Wednesday, that Jason Ronald's team is making the Xbox ports of games so ubiquitous and seamless in development and ports that developers will feel like they're making their game for Steam, and then they're just adding in achievement and controller support or UI support and stuff, which they do anyway. Every Steam game has Xbox UI support, but where they're just doing the certification process only. And if this is true, this is what I heard, that Jason Ronald's team is going to make the porting process so painless that when they make a game for PC, they just add the little stuff on top and send it in for certification to get on the Xbox console. Because I've been hearing for like 7 years that the Xbox version of games takes twice as long as the PlayStation versions. And when I heard Thomas Mahler, the guy who made Ori and No Rest for the Wicked, say, why not? You can make a port for a platform in 3 to 4 months and recoup that development time easily by sales. And if he's saying 3 to 4 months, but it's maybe 6 months on Xbox, that's a major problem. So what if Xbox said, if you want to play our games, you have to be subscribed to Game Pass, or you have to buy them on a PC through the Xbox PC app or Xbox console, Helix. If your game is good enough, Mag, if your game is fire, if Fable gets reviewed and it's an 87 or an 88, people will show up where they can play that game. Will someone wait for the eventual Steam port? This might be one of the things that they have to look at. We're making a crap ton of money on Steam. Why would we yank that? I don't know, but there's something going on behind having Steam on this console that doesn't add up. And Colin Moriarty and a lot of people called out a long time ago, why would they do this when everything comes to Steam? And Jesse says, Steam Machine runs on Windows. Yeah, but Steam's also got an OS that if they were good enough, they could compete. But you've got billions of people on Windows devices. So they're going to have to change what they do. I think it makes more sense to say, and I think it makes more sense to say, if you want to play our games, they're not on PlayStation. They're on Game Pass, which means you're almost on every device, because Game Pass is on every device except for a PlayStation, right? And we're not caught. We don't talk about Nintendo because they're on an island. They're awesome. They don't get every game like PlayStation and Xbox do. So Xbox can say, if you want our game, you have to come to us. You could do that through cloud. You could do that through Game Pass, or you can do that by buying the game on our product. And I think if they do that, Asha might be looking at data that might be pointing them in a direction where they'll sell more hardware, because they're not looking to compete with anyone. They're just looking to sell a few million or 10 million units and making a profit on every single one of them.
Sure.
And I think that needs to go back in the tube. That toothpaste has to be shoved back in.
All right.
I think that's where we are right now.
Okay, fair enough. I'm gonna have to end it on this point. I gotta go deal with that thing. So, but that's, hey man, there's so much more to talk about. But I mean, it's just like, the thing is, the next year and a half is going to be very telling as we see things start to, take shape, so to speak, right? As like little bits of information move forward. It's not about the hype and the pizzazz of like, oh, like GDC, they're going to be talking about the console, what it can do and this and that. I'm like, that's great and all, but like, that's not what's really going to be driving the conversation, is not what it can do. It's going to be, how much does it cost? What can it do in terms of like, what services are you offering? Not the box itself or the power, or, it's 85 times the power of the Series X. No, that didn't do anything the last generation.
I agree.
So like,
I agree.
You know what I mean? That didn't do anything then. It was good for talking points and arguing points for fanboy console wars, but not for like actual conversation. But the thing is, it's going to be what we've been talking about. How is it going to integrate Steam? How is it going to do this? How is it going to do that? Are they going to bring exclusives back? Are they not? I still stand on the not side. You're standing on the maybe side or the yes side.
Yeah, I'm on the maybe side.
I think we should have another gentleman's bet. Let's just shake right on the air on another gentleman's bet. You lost the last one. Let's see if we can make it 1-for-1, and then you and I have to have a rubber match. Because let me tell you something, folks. Colteastwood and I are the Siskel and Ebert, okay? One day, one guy's the devil, the other guy's the devil.
Oh, we're also the old angel. Muppets up in the balcony as well.
We're the old Muppets. We're never going to argue. We're never going to do. We can argue, but we're never going to not be friends doing this kind of thing. But anyways, we'll see. I got to get going, folks.
We'll see. We'll see on who wins this
we'll
one.
See
right?
About that. Yeah. You sure about that? You sure about that?
Everybody, go subscribe to. Go to subscribe to Mag's channel, and thanks to 4XP for sponsoring. I'm going to stick around. I've got a lot to talk about, and I'm going to cover your questions, and we might have a special guest jump in just a moment. Mr. Ross says, Luke at there, appreciate you. Mag, thank you for everything, and we'll talk on Monday.
Man. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
We will absolutely talk then. Everybody have yourself a wonderful week then. Stay magnificent, and we'll talk to y'all real soon.
Thanks, Mag.
All
right, let's cover let me grab this. Let me grab the chat. I'm going to fix this next week and make it even better, but I'll grab the chat and put it in here. So that's kind of in here. Let me make it look nice. I'm like a graphics guy. Like I do graphic design, so everything has to look nice-ish. Whoops, that's not going to do it. Right there. That'll be good enough, I think. No, I want to make it even better. I want to cover some of your questions because I have look at this. Look at me. Look at me doing stuff. Crazy. There we go. All right, there you guys can see the chat while we're doing the show. Let me grab some of your supers. I want to break into more about Project Helix and Magnum, and I want you to ask me some questions because there's a lot to cover behind that name. And one of the things that Mag and I were going to talk about in the show, we didn't get to it, but we had this conspiracy theory that maybe Project Helix was going to launch at the end of the year, but now I'm thinking that's impossible. The problem is that the Steam machine is supposed to be out in summer of 2026. And a recent post from Valve said, we're trying to get the Steam machine out in 2026. So people are like, what? Is this thing not going to make it this year? Because they're waiting for RAM prices that'll never drop. So Mag and I were talking about on the phone about how the Steam machine has a 18-month jump on the Xbox console, which is nearly the same thing. Console form factor, plays all these PC games, but Xbox just has more games because of the Xbox library. And we're like, is Project Helix going to be 18 months late to the party? And it's very, very, it seems like it's very likely that the Xbox Project Helix, which it'll be called something else, a really dumb name, will come out November 2027. I've got a couple of questions here from you guys. Let me see here. I love this. PV Ghost, thanks for the 5, says, I feel like Need for Speed Underground 1 and 2 are more nostalgic for me. Yeah, it was Underground and Most Wanted are like the big favorites. They need to do it. Broke Boy, thank you so much for the 2, says, Xbox be petty. Call it the Xbox 6 and beat PlayStation to it. Talking about the name, I've been saying this for a while. I said I was so sure they were going to call the Xbox Series consoles the Xbox V. and just call it the Xbox V, which is Roman numeral for 5 next to the PlayStation 5. And they didn't. Like, Microsoft is dumb. They called it the Xbox Series, which means absolutely nothing unless the next console is called the Xbox Series X2. But if they were going to make consoles forever, it would make more sense to call it the Xbox Series X2, X3, X4, but I think this is their last one. So guaranteed the Helix console will be called like Xbox Fabio or something. It's going to be ridiculous. Broke Boy, thanks for another 2. Says, Mag, did you specify that UK sales, right? Yes, he did. We covered that in the show. I'm just now getting to it. Hody72, thank you so much for the €5. Says, imagine putting Office 365 and full-fledged Windows plus all the AI in the machine. That would be a huge selling point. Xbox Project Helix will be a full-fledged PC. As far as we know, it's going to be Windows 11. It's going to allow you to install whatever software you want on it, a Premiere Pro or editing software, music software, a DAW if you want to put a digital audio station on it. You can do your taxes. You can look at booty. I don't know. You can do whatever you want on this thing. I mean, PlayStation guys do on their PS4 anyway. But yeah, you could. It's a full-fledged PC. And something that was recently said today was that it will be a gaming device first, and it will allow you to boot over to Windows so you can use this thing. So if you have this next to your desk, it can be your new PC. If you have it next to your TV, you can do PC things connected to your TV in the living room if you want. It'll have full mouse and keyboard support. It'll have all of the kinks and issues that come with playing on a PC. So or having a Windows 11 PC. It might be Windows 12, but it's probably more likely it's going to be like the curated version 11 that we've had for a while, and they're going to pare that down so it can be a gaming device. Xbox and Microsoft have a lot of working together. Oh, here comes Paris. Xbox and Windows have a lot of work to fix. Let me go to Duo here to fix what they need to do here to make sure their software is great. Paris, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm off camera, unfortunately, but just want to pop in, say hello. Actually, I'm not. But no, just popping in for a minute. I know everyone's been talking about the Helix stuff. We're over on KFGD talking about it this morning as well. But exciting news to see where it's going to go. I mean, I heard you running down all the specs of everything. I just think the one hilarious thing about all this is people arguing, is it a PC? Yes, it's a PC, but it's a console too. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. It's both. It's literally both. They're literally telling you this will give you the Xbox experience of a console, but we're also going to integrate in third-party PC digital stores. So if you got Steam, Epic, or whatever, you can play those games too. Now, what the UI looks like and how all that is going to synergize together, TBD. That's what GDC is for. That's what Jason Ronald's going to be talking about. That's why I will be sitting in the front row when he gives that talk on March 11th, right? And obviously all the other conversations they're going to have with developers and everything. And they're doing something different. We've never seen an open platform console before. Obviously, it's based off of Windows. Makes sense. Let's see what it is. Let's see what they do. They're not getting rid of hardware as people were worried about. So let's see how successful it is. Let's see how expensive it is. And, we go from there.
But let me ask you a question about the whole it's just a PC. I personally feel like, why is that an insult? Like, what's your take on the people saying it's just a PC? Because you were laughing about it behind the scenes.
It's console wars. It's stupid. That's what I say it is. It's adults acting like children. Who cares? Literally, who cares? Why are people they've been telling you, I mean, this has been the worst kept secret in the industry for the past 2 years anyways. Mm-hmm. We've known they were doing a hybrid device. Literally, a hybrid device means it is two different things coming together as one, a console and a PC. Now, I will say the Asus ROG Ally X, that is not a console. That is a Windows handheld PC because it cannot play all your Xbox games. Whereas they're telling you this will play all your Xbox games. Now, I think I even heard you talking about backwards compatibility. I think you were saying the licensing would be a nightmare. So I would assume we're going to get all the Series X stuff.
Of course,
now,
and Xbox One.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. How much they can dive into the Xbox One, the 360, and to the original Xbox, it may only be their first party stuff. We may not see a lot of third party on that.
The Xbox One stuff is fully compatible with Series consoles, so
then
it is a given that you're looking at 6,000 plus games. Everything that is available, because I think you lost like maybe a handful of games when Series X came out that couldn't come up. But I think the Series X and S started with 3,000 games or whatever it was from Xbox One. So that's a given. That is natively played on this Magnus chip. Your Xbox One library and Xbox Series library, but the 360 and original Xbox stuff is emulated through it's the actual dashboard of the 360. So that backward compatibility will remain emulated on the chip, while the rest of the stuff will be native ports. And there's never been a PC that allowed you to play hundreds or thousands of Xbox console games. So people are like, oh, why don't I just buy a PC? I'm like, you can. Like, if your PC build looks better than these supposed specs that Moore's Law has dug up, if your PC looks better than that, then don't get this. But if your PC is due for an upgrade and you're like, oh yeah, I own a few hundred Xbox games, plus this thing is more powerful than my current build, it's time to upgrade. Like, absolutely. Like, maybe you should look at Helix as your next device, or instead of buying the Steam machine. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's going to be the selling point of what they need to do. So I think the other interesting part of this is obviously they're going to make their box, but again, it's been rumored that we will see OEM versions, OEM variants of this, and I would just naturally assume whatever OEM variant we would see of it, they're all using that same AMD chip for exactly what you're talking about. So it will enable them to be able to do backwards compatibility into the Xbox console library. And then obviously moving forward, anything else that, is PC related will be playable in there as well. I'm all for new things. Let's see what it is. Let's see how it works in practice. I think they got a lot of work to do on the software side. We're starting to see the fruits of some of that labor. I think that new cloud dashboard that we're seeing, maybe that's the preview of what we're going to see. Because I've used it too. I would assume that's where this is all headed towards, that they just want a unified UI that scales across devices and the cloud, obviously. But it's exciting to see, man. I'm last week was shocking because Phil and Sarah leaving. Now that has happened and we're moving forward into the Asha era, let's see what she does. Let's see what decisions she's going to make, and we move forward from there.
What's your scale of 1 to 10 of optimism are you feeling for Asha, with 10 feeling like she's going to save the world and end world hunger in the console war? Like, how much optimism are you feeling?
Here's what I'll say. I watched a few interviews that she did. Mm-hmm. She's really good. I mean, she damn near got me sold on AI. She's good at it, right?
I mean,
yeah. But I think her impact, we're not going to really see her impact this year. I think the previous administration's plans are essentially going to be executed this year. I think it's really into 2027, obviously leading up to the launch of this hardware and beyond. So the next 12 to 18 to 24 months is probably where we're going to see any big changes that she's going to make. The thing that I have my eye on is Game Pass, in that I see two things happening. Either day and date just completely goes away, or day and date stays. Actually, three things. Day and date stays, but we see another huge price increase, so that it's there if you want it. Money. But you're going to pay for it. Or option C, you keep day and date ultimate just like it is, but you remove the quote unquote premium titles like a Call of Duty out of it, and maybe Elder Scrolls 6 is not in it. Something like that. I'm not saying this is happening.
I don't know how they message that. Like, hey,
I don't either.
Like, here's the games for the month. Like, where's Elder Scrolls 6? And they're like, later? That's a weird messaging. But Xbox has had worse to deal with when it comes to messaging. What about how about this Project Helix price point? Like, how are you feeling? There's a good $500 or $600 variant in how people look at it.
Well, see, this is where I think the OEMs probably have to come into play, in that if this is truly a premium high-end device that, I mean, it's doing path tracing, all the bells and whistles, all that, you're going to pay. It's not going to be cheap. I think people should start at $1,000 and go up from there. Yeah, just my opinion. But if they do work with an Asus or a Lenovo and there's these other variants of it, I do think you'll see scaling prices and scaling performance. So you may get a cheaper version of this from Asus. You know, it may not do all the bells and whistles, but it will play all your Xbox game and it will play the PC games at medium settings or something, right? You get what I'm saying. So, but it's more affordable. They get you know.
They make all the chips and then certain cores are, failed on them. And so they lower the price and the yield or the power, the power profile of it. And so you could have differing, you could set them into 3 tiers and say, here's your lowest powered one, your medium and high. And they basically do the same thing, just like you see with CPUs, i5, 7, 9, right? Like that sort of thing. So that's how they can support multiple devices. And you said that ROG could have one cheaper. ROG could also definitely have the only one that's way more expensive than the Xbox one.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. You'll see scaling, but because I mean, there's a lot of assumptions here, so please don't take anything I'm saying as gospel or as I know anything, because I know nothing. But maybe this is their surface play, whereas we're providing this console at this spec. And it's just like they do with the Surface laptops, right?
It's super nice, it's super pricey.
Yeah.
That's what you want. Yeah. Perfectly said.
Well, I mean, we'll see. We're just at a point now where the industry, and obviously PlayStation just did what they did on the PC side, but all 3 of them are doing something different. I think Xbox, Microsoft did a lot of the things that they've done by necessity as the third party or the third place, putting games on other platforms. I guess I don't know your opinion on this. Let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. I'm of the opinion, don't expect any real return exclusivity, but what do you think about that?
Oh, yeah, I'm kind of like that, but then I'm thinking they have to do something different. I was going to ask you the same question. It's like, we've never seen, I said this to everybody here, we've never really seen what Xbox can do with all of their games and studios releasing, because the moment, which was 2025, the moment they actually had all the games they promised at the launch of the X, they put them on PlayStation. So Asha has no data to see if exclusivity works. But my other issue is it doesn't work for series consoles. Those consoles are shot. They're overpriced. They're under delivered and under what's the word? Represented. Like they're just not there. And they're never going to be in the profit pocket. So you can't push series consoles, but you can push the next one, not to sell more than the Steam machine or PlayStation 6, but just to sell those Surface Pro level consoles at a decent clip. Because I've said on the show, there's 50 to 60 million Xbox users, and then there's a certain amount of diehard. They're going to sell 1 million or so consoles in the first year or two, and then that's going to really significantly slow down. But Asha has to figure out what is ruining the brand. And I think it's this is Xbox everywhere, and no console required. Those marketing beats have hurt the brand. And Asha comes from a marketing standpoint in her job. She's taken companies up into the upper echelon. She has to look at what can we do to make Xbox popular again. And pouring water over the brand wasn't doing it. So when you asked me about exclusivity, I think they have to have some sort of exclusivity. And my argument's always been, Paris, that Xbox's games are available to everyone on cloud, Xbox supported devices, PC, and a myriad of Xbox consoles. They really didn't have exclusives like PlayStation and Nintendo did. So I think they could return to a form of exclusivity where they say, we're going to put our games on PlayStation, but it's going to be later. And we're not going to tell you when, but we're going to say at least 12 months. And then you find a pocket where it makes sense or when your port's ready, but you have to have something. Does that sound psychotic to you, or how are you feeling about that?
Here's how I look at it. I'm paying very careful attention to the wording, and the wording continues to say bringing essentially the experience to multiple devices. They're not shying away from that. Yes, like it starts with console, but that doesn't mean it ends with console. You know what I mean? So I definitely don't see them stopping day and date on PC. That clearly they're integrating Windows in. That's not going to stop. The PlayStation side, I guess it comes down to exactly what PlayStation did, evaluating time, putting timed releases on PC. They saw an initial uptick, but it slowed down over the years. And they realized unless we go all in day and date, we're not going to grow on PC. We don't want to go day and date. Screw it, route. Okay, fine. Maybe that's similar on with how Xbox looks at it with PlayStation. Maybe there was a novelty that there's Xbox games on PlayStation. Obviously, Forza Horizon 5 is, kind of the flagship here of the big seller. But what if Forza Horizon 6 doesn't do that great on PlayStation? Now they're like, well, wait, why are we doing? You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I don't think it happens this year. Clearly, the games that have been announced to be on PlayStation are going to go away. I just think if they feel like it is not financially viable, then maybe they reconsider it and everything's off the table. Like she said, what the plan is the plan until it's not the plan. But to your point again about Asha is, if you look at her resume, she's, for lack of a better term, she's the wolf from Pulp Fiction, right? She comes in and she solves problems. She fixes problems. She takes an established thing, fixes the problem so it can continue to grow. And that's what I'm assuming she's doing now. She's coming in, evaluate the brand. What are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? Okay, these things are wrong. How can we fix them? What do we pivot to? Does this make sense? Are we going to hurt ourselves financially? X, Y, Z. That's just how I logically see it. Like I said, I don't think exclusivity comes back. But if it did, then okay, let's see. There clearly was a reason why. They clearly want to cater, as they're saying, to that core Xbox fan. Because I think the biggest thing they have to do is make sure they take care of their core audience. And that's what was kind of starting to get lost with This Is an Xbox, where the people that bought a console in 2020 was like, I don't care what's on PlayStation. I care about what's on Xbox. Wait, now you're telling me I didn't have to buy an Xbox? I could have just bought a PlayStation to play these games either. I'm confused. Why are we doing this? Why are the prices raising? Why is it hard for me to find blah, blah, blah? You don't care about the console anymore. So they need to fix their messaging and make their core audience feel like, hey, we care about you. We want to make sure that you are taken care of first before we start looking at people on PlayStation or Nintendo or trying to get grandma to cloud stream it on her LG TV, right? So
yeah.
Because that's the thing about This Is an Xbox. I'll say this real quick. I think the concept of it was fine. I didn't disagree with it. I think the marketing around it was very hit or miss, very much so.
Like cheesy,
it never
or
like the boxing thing, like the boxing thing was cheesy, and it was just like, because I had reviewed when they put it on the VR headset, they put it on the Amazon Fire Stick. They obviously partnered with Samsung, LG. I get them expanding it, but one of the damning things was going back to Starfield when they partnered with Samsung. What was the marketing thing on there? No console needed.
Required. Yeah.
And it's like, I get what you're saying, because you're saying you don't need it, but that isn't flashing neon lights to everyone. You don't need to buy this Xbox anymore.
What that says to me is like, I know you want this game, but don't worry, you don't have to buy an Xbox. We got you.
Yeah. Because I'm a fan of Play Anywhere. I will die on that hill. I think that I love the fact that I buy the game, a license once, and then I can use it across multiple devices. I will never complain about that. Obviously, amazing. Game Pass, when it was cheaper, best value in game, and I would scream it to the rooftops. I'm not going to say that at $30 a month or higher, but that's just me.
Yeah.
So they were doing a lot of good. No, go ahead. Sorry.
Somebody said I was a walking Xbox Game Pass advert. I'm like, not the last couple of years. Like, I've been very, just like you. I haven't heard you say the thing. Like, say the thing people always say to Paris. And the Xbox or the Game Pass is the greatest value in gaming. But since the hike, you don't say that.
Oh no. And, trust me, my detractors, because the day that it was announced, I was on KFGD. and that got clipped and went everywhere because I said it. No, I'm not going to say that anymore because I don't believe it. I'm not going to say something I don't believe. I just think when it comes to all this console, like obviously, we talk a lot about Xbox, but guess what? I love PlayStation games too. Yeah. That's why I was not a fan of them taking off PC, because I like playing PlayStation games on PC. Call me crazy being able to play it on a high-end rig with ray tracing and ultra wide and all these fun things. But if if they made the business decision that they're not going to let me play Wolverine on the PC, guess what? I'm going to play it on my PS5 Pro because I just like to play great games. I don't care, But
yeah, I mean, there is something there's something about playing them how you want or playing them your way is really important when you've, like some people, I don't want to play on a desk. Like, well, it just depends on what your setup is. Like, maybe you would just want to play them. Randall Thor said about Grand Theft Auto. He's like, if it's 60 frames on the Pro, he has a Pro. He's like, I want to play it how and where I want to play. So he might play that game on Xbox. And the funny thing is, somebody like Rand can play the game where the F he wants on whatever device in his own house, and nobody needs to be looking over the corner going, where are you playing that, huh? Where are you playing that game? I got to ask you another question. I think you're going to say something else. You better say it before you forget.
Okay. Wait, I did forget.
Yeah, I figured. we were talking about, if you said the PlayStation PC ports, and you'll just play Wolverine on it. Yeah.
Yeah, because they've obviously made the decision that they thought was best for them. Do I agree with it? No, I do not. I honestly wish they'd just go all in and go day and date, but they don't want to do that.
You see, they want the line of console sold to continue to rise. I don't blame them for that. I understand.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I think gets lost in the social media nonsense is I want PlayStation to thrive. I want Xbox to thrive. I want Nintendo to thrive, Ubisoft, EA on down the road. I want these companies to do great so they can continue to make great games. It's about, at the end of the day, it's about the games. It's not about the plastic box. I guess that's all I'm saying is, sure, Xbox was doing exclusivity until they weren't. And then it was weird and we were questioning why the change. But then ultimately for me, I'm like, well, wait a minute. This just means you got player choice. I know. I think I will never understand why someone would be against player choice. That's my thing as a consumer, because that's all it is.
They do.
That's all it is. But if we're not doing that anymore, then we're not doing it anymore. You adjust and you move on, because that's what you have to realize. These businesses will change their strategy at the drop of a dime if they're not being profitable. That's what it comes down to.
I mean, PlayStation's like, the report is that they're pulling their games off PC, but it's like, no, they're only pulling the single player games. The live service stuff, like some of it, Marathon and Helldivers are on it, and MLB are on Xbox. Like my whole exclusivity is dissolving, and games and franchise will benefit from it. I still believe that games and gamers will benefit. The franchise benefit when games are available to everyone. If Spider-Man was on every device, it would be even bigger. But when it's only on PlayStation, it helps PlayStation sell more plastic. I got to ask you about Ashish Sharma's, or about Satya Nadella's comment. Supposedly, according to Xasis, he said that Ashish Sharma has a blank check, and Tom Warren replied and said, let me find it. The report says, I don't know if you heard this. You probably were talking about it before you jumped in here. According to Stacey,
I got a DM, but yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. Tom Warren said, quote, he didn't say that exactly. So Tom Warren knows what he said, but Tom Warren said he didn't say that exactly, that Ashish Sharma has a blank check to revive Xbox no matter the cost. So you got a DM, somebody keyed you in on this little leak.
Yeah, and I got the gaming leaks. Someone DM'd me the thing, and my response to that person was, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I go, even if he said it, I don't believe it. There's no such thing as a blank check, because a blank check to me would say, if Asha, quote unquote, was trying to restore the Xbox brand, all right, we're doing hardware, all the games are exclusive again, we're getting rid, like, Gamepad, we're lowering the price on Gamepad. Like there would be all these consumer friendly things that they would do that would probably kill them financially. They're not going to do that. I personally don't believe that. So maybe he's basically saying that Xbox has the backing of Microsoft to chase whatever their initiatives are going to be, but they obviously have to be within reason. You know what I mean?
Phil had a blank check though. We were joking earlier about an hour ago about how Phil essentially had a blank check in the early 2020s, right? He's like, let me go buy Bethesda and I'll go buy ABK. Let me see if Valve's for sale. And then,
but what we also realized was the early 2020s, due to, you know what, broke this industry because we saw a huge spike in engagement and money and all these things. And these companies went buck wild, over hiring, budgets explode, like everything happened.
Buck wild. I haven't used that one in a while.
Yeah. Well, I'm old, so that's why. But that's why. And now we're essentially paying the tax for that. You know, that's what's happening. The bills come due and now we're paying for it. And that's why you're seeing, all these layoffs, these studios closing. If a game doesn't hit a certain number, just all the stuff that we've, been talking about over the last couple of years. It's not great. And that's my other thing, Colt, that I try to say. And again, it gets lost in translation on social media because nobody wants to hear it. I go, I'm not going to root for a game to fail. I'm not. Absolutely. Even if it's a game that I don't like, I want to see it succeed, because when it fails, there's ramifications that go beyond just the game failing that is felt across the industry. I mean, think about it. Highguard lasting 45 days and about to go away. That entire studio closed. All those people are laid off. You got hundreds of people that are now flooded back into the market again, looking for jobs.
You may not think that Highguard is a good game or they shouldn't have made it, but the problem is there's probably a good chunk at that studio that is capable of making something even more amazing.
Well, there were Respawn guys. These are people that literally, if you think about the legacy of Respawn, the Jedi games, Titanfall, Apex, and then let's not forget what they originally were. They were Infinity Ward. So we're talking some people that probably went all the way back to the Call of Duty Modern Warfare days. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you got to think about it in that way. And sure, a lot of these people are going to find jobs and all that, but it just creates this vacuum within the industry, and then it makes the publishers that have to finance this stuff gun shy. Like, I wish Mag was here, because I know Mag is pretty smart on this stuff too, but they're not financing these games. They're struggling. Like DICE, that just happened a few weeks ago. You know what the number one conversation was? There's no money. No one wants to invest. No one wants to. Because they're afraid of the risk. They're afraid to finance it. Exactly. Yeah.
Ryan, I was talking to Ryan McCaffrey last year, and he said this one sentence is so brilliant. He said, "We need more games in this industry, not fewer, or more studios, not fewer." And we were talking about how Ubisoft was having a difficult time, and people just like, "Oh, I just want Ubisoft to go away because they don't make games that I love anymore." It's like, dude. And that's what he said. We need more studios and games in this industry, not fewer. And if I don't like a game, I usually don't really talk about it. I got a question for you from Ocarina Hero. Thanks for the 5. He says, Paris, what are your thoughts on Sony pulling away from PC? Well, you did kind of talk about this. Does that give Xbox an edge, or does nothing change?
I don't think anything changes. And like you said, I've already talked about it, but I don't think it changes much.
Remember what Matt
other than. Yeah, I saw what he said. Like I said, I get it. If that's what they looked at the numbers and that's what they thought was best for them. Like I said, because I did a video and I know, the weirdos grabbed it and it went all around. But what I said in the video was the only way, like, if PlayStation games are not selling on PC, what are the reasons why? I go, is it a lack of optimization? Is it a lack of quality? Or is it because you're waiting 18 to 24 months to put these games out there and people have already moved on and they're not buying them? And again, it's what we just talked about. The novelty wears off. And now
you haven't been waiting though. You're just kind of double dipping and going back and experiencing them again.
But see, that's the thing with us, Colt. We're is such a tiny percentage of gamers where we're fortunate enough. I got everything. I ain't gotta wait for nothing. If the game, once the game's out on PlayStation, I'm playing it on PlayStation. But then, yeah, it comes later on PC. There, if I really like the game, yeah, I might go back. Like Ghost of Tsushima. I actually replayed Ghost of Tsushima on PC in anticipation of Yote, which I then played on PlayStation. Right.
Yeah.
So, but we're unique in that way. Not everyone has multiple devices to do that. So when you think about the average person that has invested a couple $1,000s into a high-end gaming PC, they probably don't have an Xbox or a PlayStation because they don't care. So if you're not bringing that game to me where I am, or you do 2-3 years later, screw you. I'm not waiting on that. I'm going to go move on to something else because there's so many great games out there to go play. You know what I mean? So that's where I think PlayStation, and they made the decision because I think, like I said, I think it came down to you either fully embrace PC, which means go close to day and date as you possibly can, or you pull back altogether. Because you know, like I've talked about before, I had a conversation last summer that's what they said. They were like, they'll never go day and date. They will back off of this altogether before they ever go day and date. But they own the IPs. They're the publisher. They do whatever they want. So I get it. I don't agree with it. But I get
Greenberg
it.
told me that like 9 years ago. I said, do you think PlayStation will ever put their games on PC? And he goes, never. They'll never put them day and date on there. And like that wasn't even really a possibility because I don't think PlayStation put games on PC till like 4 years after I asked him that question. You know, and he talks to a lot of people in that industry on the PlayStation side. Yeah.
But the interesting thing about the PlayStation stuff is it clearly looked like it was starting to, I would say as of Spider-Man 2, it was looking like it was trending more and more that they were going to shorten the time for it to be on PlayStation to be on PC, because I think Spider-Man 2 was the shortest. It was like 14 months or something like that. Obviously Nixus who's been doing phenomenal work. So I hope, you know, everyone there at that studio continues to do that. But then obviously, you know, it's always when new leadership comes in, things change. PlayStation got new leadership. They changed.
Yeah.
I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah. It took a couple of years because Herman's been in there for a couple of years. My issue, Paris, is that I'm a big Xbox fan. I like a lot of their franchises, but my issue is I don't think Xbox has leap off the page, irresistible, everyone has to play this games.
Yes.
And so if everyone's like, oh, they need to come back to some sort of exclusivity, I'm like, you can't do that if your games like Outer Worlds and Avowed, I think were awesome games. I loved them, but nobody really bought them. And they didn't, and people were like, I'll play it on Game Pass or I don't care at all. And I don't even know if Fable is oh my gosh, I have to have it for the masses. What's your opinion on Xbox's must plays?
I think you're correct. And that's been, that's been the overall issue, you know, like it's funny going back to that Phil interview we did a few years ago, which look, the fact that I was even a part of that is crazy, but probably the most consequential interview we'll ever see from a gaming CEO. You will never see that ever again. Someone be that transparent as he was. But one thing that he had even said during that was he sees the roadmap of because remember at that point in time, Redfall was a disaster and they just lost to CMA. That's why he was in a bad mood. But he saw the roadmap that was coming up down the way. Sorry. But he saw the roadmap of stuff that was going on. Oh, what's happening? What am I missing?
I was like, your guys' time. No, I'm just saying your guys' timing. Like you lined that up, and it was like, oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, that was crazy. Let me set for the record on that because I always see conflicting things. He was literally coming on to talk about because not E3, but Summer Game Fest and some stuff they were going to. His first time.
There we go. Sorry, I lost it. I lost it for a second. Go ahead.
Okay.
Just rewind back 3 seconds.
Oh, no. I was just saying that he was coming on to talk about Summer Game Fest and like some Game Pass stuff or whatever, right? It was just going to be a fun conversation. It had never been on XCast. And then the CMA thing happened and the Redfall thing happened. I remember to this day, I was like, there's no effing way they're going to let him come on. There's no way. I go, he's not doing it. I was like, yep, he's coming on. And to his credit and to PR's credit, we were allowed to ask whatever we wanted. There was no, you can't ask this, you can't do this, you can't do that. And again, this is why he was so transparent. It's crazy. It was crazy. But the whole point I was making out of that is he was talking about he can see down the road because he obviously knows everything that's coming. Yeah. And he was super excited for it. And I think we're getting close to that point now where those games are about to happen. And let's see what Gears E-Day is going to be. To your point about Fable, I'm excited for it. I don't know if that's going to be the needle mover for them, but I tell you what, Forza Horizon 6 will be. Forza Horizon 6 will probably be in the top 5 top selling games of this year. I'm curious to see what Clockwork Revolution is going to be. Who knows with State of Decay 3 at this point? I know they were talking about it again, but that's a unicorn at this point. I won't believe it until I see it. I think where they made a calculated miss was not, and I think we talked about this before, was not having a standalone Fallout game ready to go.
No kidding.
They didn't have the foresight to go. I know they still don't. I think that's a big miss on their part.
It's like they don't even have something remaster wise ready for next season. It seems like it's like, I don't know. It would be such a, it'd be so dumb if they launched like Fallout 3 remaster at the end of this year during a packed schedule. And then like, there's no Fallout show going. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. And to be fair, because, you and I actually were at that event last year. I mean, like with Jonathan Rush, who's creative director over there at Bethesda Austin with Fallout 76. I mean, that team's doing phenomenal work. It's no slight against them, but Fallout 76 is not what a standout Fallout game would be. We all know that, even though I love Fallout 76. Yeah, and that would, if they would think about it, if they would have had not even season 1, just this last season, imagine if they had, it doesn't even have to be Fallout 5, but like an offshoot Fallout game, standalone, ready to go that they could essentially market along with the TV show. It'd be huge right now. Obviously, Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be huge. And again, talking about the must-have play, Starfield was supposed to be that game. We all know it. And I like Starfield, but it's not for everybody. And I think that's the problem, is it's not a perfect game. It has its issues. We'll obviously see what these changes are going to be. I'm glad Todd Howard publicly came out and tempered expectations because, I had some people whispering in my ear like, look, this ain't Phantom Liberty. This isn't Cyberpunk 2.0. They made some changes, but they're more quality of life stuff than anything. And don't expect this huge overhaul of the game. I'm like, fair enough. But to your point, they don't have that game. I don't know what it's going to be. I mean, I've heard some good things about the next Call of Duty. We'll obviously see what it is when they announce it. Everyone assumes it's Modern Warfare 4. I guess we'll see. But they don't. But they just don't have that game. They have good games, like you said. I love Avowed. I love The Outer Worlds too. But not everybody does. But they don't have that game that's just universally loved.
Like right Wolverine now, just like leaps off the page, and the amount of likes. Just they the other day they posted September 15th, 2026. That was like that was just a post, and it was like 40,000 likes. Xbox doesn't have that pull. They don't have that game that is like everyone's like, you have to have this. I want to grab a couple questions here because I figure you'd probably be able to answer some of these. I'll run through them real quick. PVD Ghost, thanks for the 10, says, wasn't there a 2D platformer known as Marathon back in the Bungie Halo days where there's a special achievement to play it and also unlock something special? Or was that Call of Duty? I mean, Marathon was a different game back then. I don't know, but I'll look into it.
Yeah, I don't know.
JD Gamer, thanks for the 5, says, to get around the regulators that allow Xbox to compete at the highest level, take that blank check, which we don't know if exists, and make major third-party games timed exclusive. Everyone always asks Paris about them bringing back 360 days, and I'm like, what do you want? You want them to buy a bunch of games they don't own and make them exclusive? Because that's what the 360 era was for me. Studios and games they didn't own, only on Xbox 360. Like, what is the magic?
I'm not a fan of the third-party exclusive because I think a third-party game should definitely be everywhere. Now, but again, if an Xbox or a PlayStation and obviously Nintendo decides our games are only on our hardware since they make hardware too, fair enough. Mm-hmm. You own it, do what you want. Because I know people got mad at me a couple years ago with Final Fantasy Rebirth. I'm like, I think I said, they were XCast, they clip everything. And I had said, man, it's almost like criminal or something that it's not on Xbox, I think is what I said at the time. And people got super mad. And I go, my point is, it's Square Enix, not PlayStation. Square Enix games should be everywhere. And guess what happened? Square Enix games are everywhere now, which is great. Look at Capcom right now. Look at Resident Evil.
Yeah. And then Crimson Desert was like, no, we want our game to be everywhere.
Yeah.
And if you're like, why would Pearl Abyss not get the bag from PlayStation? I'm sure the bag looked nice, but I think Pearl Abyss is like, we feel like Crimson Desert is going to be really big. We want it to be as big as possible. And it kind of looks like the timed exclusive or the third party exclusive thing is really diminishing in an era when PlayStation and Xbox were kind of changing exclusivity. So yeah, I mean, everyone who's like, bring back the 360 days. Like, what do you want? The red ring and games that we don't, that like Phil's gone, but he didn't want franchises that they didn't own. They wanted to own their IPs and be able to, make money off of those. Analog, thanks for the NOK20 says, why lose day one in Game Pass exclusives? And they says, Corpo shiz. I don't know. I'm okay with first party games coming off Game Pass. Would you be okay if they did that, Paris? Or do you think it'd be like a major villain move?
So wait, make sure I understand. So what are we taking off Game Pass?
The first party games, like saying, hey, our first party games are going to be on Game Pass like a year or so later, but we're also not putting them on PlayStation, was like the trade-off, like Rand and Jez talked about. What if they just said, hey, our big first party games are not on Game Pass day and date, but they'll always be there later and they'll stay forever when they do come on there.
Well, that's essentially the premium. Yeah, that's the premium tier. And that's what I think. I think that there's a possibility that could happen. I could see that happen.
Like a $40 tier that includes Call of Duty and all that stuff, or maybe sans Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Would people freak out if the media just completely bash the yanking this promised first party games?
But see, here's the thing though, Colt. Here's the thing, Colt. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. So it doesn't matter either way. Seriously, if they don't do it, it's not sustainable. Why are you continuing to do this? You're like, okay, it's not sustainable. We're making changes to it. Why did you make changes to it? So whatever they wind up doing, they're going to do whatever is financially viable for them. See, this is the one thing about Asha coming in. And look, I love Sarah Bond to death. I'm extremely biased. I'll go on the record saying that. But with her and Phil leaving and you having Asha come in to essentially replace them, she can, for better or worse, go, well, that was the previous administration. That wasn't my decision. Here's the decision I'm making.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, that's what happens with new leadership. So if she comes in and evaluates that, you know what? Game Pass in its current form isn't working. We're making substantial changes to it. We're getting rid of day and date. We're doing whatever, all the things we just talked about. Sure, you're going to have people upset by it, but at the same time, you're like, okay, new leadership came in, evaluated, and didn't think it made sense, so they changed it. That's what I think could happen. If anything would happen in the short term, Game Pass would be it.
That's what I think too.
Yeah.
And I think the exclusive pulling off PlayStation is like a hope and a dream beyond that, because people feel like it helps synergize or re-energize the core idea of Xbox, which has really gotten away from them. Analog, thank you so much for the 5, says, if Microsoft removes day one games from Game Pass, those customers aren't going to go and just buy those games for $70. Give and take never works for gamers. I think he's kind of saying Game Pass guys or Xbox guys are used to just getting their games for free on Game Pass. So he thinks they won't go and buy those games for $70. What are your thoughts on that?
I disagree. I think if a game is great, you're going to go spend the money to go play it.
Yeah. Like I can't remember if I asked you or if it was Mag, like if Fable was coming out next month for $70, or you could wait to get it on Game Pass in October, I think there'd be a big chunk of people who just buy it to have it right now. If it was ready and they were holding it for Game Pass, I think people would just outright buy Fable. And if the game came out, it was like an 88 Metacritic, people will be jumping to buy it now and play it now. A lot of gamers don't really like to wait. Meatpup with a 10, thank you so much, says, question, when does the next gen Xbox hybrid, when does the next gen hybrid Xbox ask PlayStation not releasing the change the PC? Couldn't you just install the PlayStation app and add remote play games? Worst case, we'll blame it on Mag, he says. I mean, you will be able to install the PlayStation app on this Project Helix, wouldn't you? And just cloud the games on PlayStation, right?
It's a PC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to think of it like the Steam Deck is today. It's Linux, but if you flip over to desktop mode, you can do whatever you want. There's nothing stopping you from doing it. So the same would essentially apply, for whatever Helix is going to be. I'll say again, this is why I'm very excited for GDC. I'm very excited to hear what Jason Rollins can have to say in that keynote. Plus, there's some other panels as well that dive more into how they're developing games, on with DirectX, making it simpler and easier, to port a game from console to PC. You make the game one time, all these things. So I'm very excited to hear these conversations because I want to understand what their approach is going to be with this. What is it going to look like for them? Does it make sense to me, to what they're trying to do? I look at it one of two ways. It's either going to be, and this is very extreme, it's either going to be a huge success or a colossal disaster. I don't think there's an in-between. I don't.
No, I mean, just changing alone is a disaster. Yeah. Broke Boy says, thanks for 2. They need to lower the current price for the consoles. I would say something crazy and say, put the consoles back to the price they were when you launched and just lose your ass on them. But they're going to lose so much money. And I think that's why they just don't sell consoles anymore. One more, Smoke Cali Bud, thanks for the 5, says 3 million Xbox Helix Founder Editions will launch Q4 of 2026. We were kicking around this idea, Paris. Like, what if Xbox wanted to, not be so late after the Steam machine and release the Project Helix console hybrid in November of 2026? And I asked someone, because I never really thought it could be 2026, but they were like, very, very low chance that Xbox has this console ready at the end of the year. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, think about it. We'd already would have had some type of leak of people that have dev kits.
Oh, true.
If that was the case, you know what I mean? Which I think, again, this is the whole point of GDC this year, because I think they're starting those conversations. And then these developers are going to start getting dev kits at some point this year to start getting their games ready for holiday next year. And to your point about the Steam machine, I don't know if you saw what just came out, but I wouldn't hold my breath for a Steam machine in 2026.
I saw that Valve said we're trying to, what you know better than I do, because I was doing the show.
They hope. Yeah, they hope. When I saw hope, I go, it's not coming out this year, because these RAM prices and everything are just out of control. And Valve probably doesn't have the deals that a big entity like a Microsoft does to be able to secure the RAM and everything that they need, because obviously Microsoft is probably bulk buying it for, guess what, their AI initiative too. So
multiple probably enterprise and everything. Like Microsoft is a heavy hitter when it comes to acquiring TSMC manufactured chips and RAM and everything. And Valve's gigantic. Hey, what are the chances that Xbox just buys Valve and calls it a day?
No chance Gabe would ever sell Valve.
He was going to sell Valve though, wasn't he? And then
but not to Microsoft. He's not going to sell them. There's no way. I would truly be shocked.
Was I told the wrong information? Because my buddy told me last night that Microsoft and Valve were in talks to buy them, and he was going through a divorce, and so he backed out because his ex would have got half of the money.
Yeah.
So he sat on. But he said that was Microsoft that had the pitch for him. But I don't know. I never looked it up.
I mean, to your point, I remember hearing some rumors about that stuff, but I guess even at that time, the Gabe's not selling Valve. I guess I've just never believed it.
Yeah.
Have you because you live up in that area, have you ever been to Valve or know where it is?
No, I've never even thought about where they're at.
It is in the most shocking, you would never believe that's where Valve is location in Bellevue. When I realized, Valve's on the floor, I was like, what? was very shocking. Obviously won't say here, but yeah, it's in a very just.
Well, I mean, their address, when I look it up, it says where it's at, but let me see. Is it in a weird location, like geographically?
No, it's in Bellevue. It's in downtown Bellevue. But
okay.
Yeah, but the building that it's in, you're like, Valve's here? And I'll never forget, I even saw an employee like come downstairs and I was like, oh crap, okay. I've never been actually inside Valve. Yeah, I've never been in Valve. That's on my bucket list to actually go into the studio itself.
I've walked by this building a billion times. That's so funny.
Yeah, okay, exactly. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah,
I'm looking at it right now. That's hilarious. Paris, I appreciate you. This has been a long show. It's really good to hear your insight on things that there's so much crazy influx stuff happening, and it's been exciting. I really feel like Xbox has, I think they have a good shot of doing some good things, and I hope they make changes for the best. Tell people where they can find you. We're going to get out of here, and what the content you have coming up with the podcasts, and you're everywhere. And
yeah, I'll just say this real quick, and then I'll say where you can find me, all that kind of stuff. And that's the whole point, Colt. Like I said before, I just want the industry to succeed. I want Xbox to figure this out and right the ship and get on a good path. I want PlayStation to do their thing, Nintendo, all of them, because we ultimately benefit at the end of the day because we get these great experiences across these different platforms, and the games and stuff. So that's all I care about. At the end of the day, I don't care about arguing who's better or whatever. It's just, if a game's good, a game's good. I don't care who makes it. But as far as where you can find me and what I'm doing, you can find me over at Gamertech Radio. Obviously, I do a lot of stuff with Kind of Funny. I got my own YouTube channel. Congrats to you for being over 100K and continue to grow. It's been awesome to see your growth and your journey over the years. I'm extremely lazy with my YouTube channel, but it is my name, Paris ML. If you go look it up, you'll see it. But I'll be at GDC all next week, and I got a few things in the oven that's cooking. Oh, I will see Gaz at GDC next week. I'll say this publicly. He messaged me and was like, yeah, man, let's go hang out and go party. I was like, I'm in. So I'll be hanging out with Gaz. He's a good dude. If you ever get to meet Gaz in person, don't let the obnoxiousness that you see online fool you. Yeah, he's actually a really good guy in person.
It's all character he plays online. When I hung out with him in London, he was just the nicest, most humble and giving person ever. Bought me dinner
he really
twice and bought me a milkshake when I was stuffed from dinner, and we sat side by side in his little tiny studio and did a live stream, and it's amazing. Yeah, I always say, if you ever get a chance to meet these people in real life that you talk to online, that's amazing. I would love, hey, I'll give a good hug to the people that probably can't stand me, because at the end of the day, when you get there in real person, it's like, dude, you just love video games. So check out my video if you want to. Yeah, if you want to see, it's really what it's about. If you want to see a breakdown of everything that we've heard and we know about the Magnus and Helix, I've got a video up from yesterday that talks about just about everything. Minus a couple things I forgot. It's just a big video, and thanks for checking out our content. I got one more question before we get out of here. Legless, thank you for the Australian 10, says, rumors have been going around about putting PC Game Pass with premium Game Pass, which Paris was saying. He says, if they do that, do you think they would remove Ultimate or have a premium as the highest tier with no day one games? Paris and I were discussing that like maybe 20 minutes ago, but I'm kind of leaning towards them adding a tier so they're not taking away from people who are already subbed. There's also people kicking around like, what if they just got rid of Game Pass altogether? But I think they make too much money on Game Pass. I don't know. Paris, any thoughts before we get out?
Yeah. Well, I'll just say this one last thing, not to relitigate the whole Game Pass thing, but another thing to think about. I definitely don't think it completely goes away, because again, Helix cannot have a multiplayer paywall being a PC device. Absolutely. So I think you keep at least some bottom tier level of Game Pass just for that. To your point, it's a huge revenue stream for them. So I don't see it completely going away at all. Now, could day and date go away? Yes. Will it? TBD. We'll find out.
TBD. That's the letters of the day. If you're keeping track, TBD. Paris, thanks so much. We're gonna get out of here and turn off the live button, and I'm gonna go hang out. You guys are awesome. Thank you for all your support. Happy Bomb put your link on Twitter and for YouTube so they can sub, hit the like button on the way out, and leave a comment. Timestamps will be up. You guys are great. Thank you so much for a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.